Usinege songo. Tusonge mbele tu. Feel these places. Mpaka mwisho pale. Saa katikati. Yenye beka wimba kako. Sani keroga nyeto mulia kali na botogo kiraigo.
Nitaomba kuwa tunapozidi kusema kuwa watu wasonge mbele, niombi tu so that ikue rahisi. Kuna viti ambavyo viko hapa mbele yako. Hakikisha kama kuna kiti mbele yako, hiyo kiti ipate mtu. Na huyo mtu ni wewe. Rosina, ninawajua majina. Na nitawataja tu kwa pole pole. Kiti ambayo tutatumia ni the first 3 rows hapa. So hiyo ingine msonge mbele. The first 3, 1, 2, 3. Hizo ziko reserved. The rest tuweze kusonga mbele, tuweze kukalia hivyo viti. Mnakaribishwa, muko Kisii Locots. And shughuli ambayo imetuleta hapa ni kuwa tuweze kutoa maoni. Ninajua kuwa tumejipanga na wakati utakapofika, utakapokuwa unapewa nafasi kuweza kuzungumza, zidi kukaribishwa. Wanasema feel at home na sisi tunasema be at home. Unapo feel at home na be at home, sijui kama kuna tofauti, lakini we are insisting that you be at home.
Rende kina kitokoro keke gusiyo musiki na neriogo. Ngai ari kwibore tungusi go sengai. Dada sokyo musiki oni no dotageta sechitageka.
Abana bawanza bunoboke bamaite komiele otaigere usiseito. Kana ni yamakaya inchetinko yetira akobori anjeno yo harari enze yo mwando. Kana ni yamakaya inchetinko yetira akobori anjeno yo harari enze yo mwando. Kana ni yamakaya inchetinko yetira tweka mpaka kilindini kashushe nyavu zenu. Yesu alipokwisha kunena alimwambia Simoni tweka mpaka kilindini. Nashusha nyavu Bwana kwa neno lako. Nashusha nyavu Yesu kwa neno lako. Nashusha nyavu gana nao. Nashusha nyavu wanasema tena.
Zaga ni kwa wingi. Ototone nyinge mono. Togo jugo jalende na kia manogu. Naro na ototone nyinge mono. Togo jugo jalende na kia manogu. Naro na mangi. Katika hali hiyo pasi tunasema mumekaribishwa. Na unapo katika hali hiyo pasi tunasema mumekaribishwa. Na unapo maliza kutoka hapa, kishindie nsaga pale nje, siku kwa wingi. Mana ugitaka kunde na yese ke kusie ko kunege sare yonsin kero. All those things are there. Na wetani awu narondo buata banta bangaini mono kurue ekenyoreke osebon abanta bwa bangaini na bajira abarigirerina mangana judiciary mburongere gositeri buronge. Yani asense amonyo kurue nengo. Asense amonyo nengo mbuyere gosigera antikirok wise. And that is the reason as to why you are seated here. So that we critique that which we call the judiciary budget. Is it meeting our expectations or it is below expectation? I'm told of late that we have that which is exceeding expectation. Lakini yana ku exceed mondo nalo ku exceed bol. Ebe sanenke na na ku iwase ku exceed. Na money is scarce. Money is scarce. Naona tuko karibu kuanza maneno, na maneno najua hapa ni kutengeneza maneno. Inaonekana wageni wamekuwa wengi, ni lazima ngozoto wote na nyabingi mondolere mwaye gusebono to wika buonyo na kero gyo isaransan keyo kero gwita iyo na kyo kwa na ndeo manyene bwinyangi njirari muri akari wokumia mieri siri mwote bebinto nabo bire twagenderera mutwe. Yani ndio kusema akifika upate una ya kutosha, ile kidogo iko ndio watu wanasaidiana nayo. Na hiyo yote ni hali ya dunia. Sio, naona wageni wetu ni wengi. Sasa na wakiwa wengi mambo ndivyo ilivyo. Naona pale fundi wa mitambo anang'ang'ana kabisa. My dear sister Beatrice, naona naye pia na cheki mitambo kama inafanya. Kwa ndio wanajua mahesabu. Hiyo ni hali ya mahesabu. Hiyo ni kujua errors inakuja jinsi gani. Naona wageni wakuu wamekuja. Na tunaomba wasidi kukaa na wanaonyeshwa jinsi gani ile ambao wanakaa. Naona fundi wa mitambo nao pia wanang'ang'ana pale, lakini maneno iko chonjo. Na sisi tuko chonjo. Karibu sana wageni. I'm seeing also wageni wakubwa. My sister, have seen Kirara, she's come, just welcome. I've seen my brother Orwo, just come. I'm seeing my brother Biwot is with us here, just come. And I feel at home, lakini tumesema ya kwamba feeling at home does not guarantee you to go into the bedroom. It only allows you to be at the sitting room. Ukianza kuingia kwa bedroom watu watauliza hii ni nini tena? Hii feeling at home hiyo sio sawa sana. So members, you are welcome, and I was saying those who are seated behind there just occupy the front chairs, so that those who come late, they get us a place to sit. But from the middle row here, nikiangalia mwakale yako nyuma sana, ninasema msonge mbele mkae. Inaonekana jua imeanza kupamba. Jua imeanza kupiga sana. Lakini hata hivyo sio kawaida ya Kisii. Na hiyo ni kushukuru Mungu kwamba jua hiyo ndio imekuja. Na wageni wanasidi kuingia. And we are getting seated. Sasa na peana hii mic kwa mwenzangu naye aseme jambo ndio atuanzishe program. Otiena ako wapi?
Ninashukuru, ni wasalimu tena mjambo. Kwa wale wa nyumbani ngakimbu akire, good morning. We are happy to have you. Karibuni Kisii Locots, karibuni Kisii County. Kwa wale hawajui, Hapa ni Kisii County. You are seated approximately 1,700 meters above sea level. Hivyo uko juu sana. Jisikie nyumbani, and we are happy to have you. Honorable Commissioners, the Honorable Registrar, the Honorable Deputy Governor, our presiding judge, the Honorable Judges, the Deputy Commissioner Kisii County, the LSK Chair, Judiciary staff, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Amjambo. Tunashukuru ni kwa sababu ya nafasi. We are happy that muko hapa. Na ikiwa bado unajiuliza mbona uko hapa, tuko hapa ilikuwa tuweze kutoa maoni. Ni kwa sababu ya vile ambavyo pesa zetu tungetaka ziweze kutumika. Bila kupoteza wakati, maana mahala ambapo tuko ni Kisii. Mawingu yanaweza yakabadilika any minute. We don't want to waste time. Maana ninaona kuwa wageni wetu waheshimiwa wameketi. Hatutapoteza wakati. Tutaweza kuanza program yetu, na kwa kwanza nitamuita brother Daniel Otieno. Brother Daniel Otieno yuko wapi? Atatufungulia kwa maombi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Otieno, and for the grace that I've been given to lead this meeting in prayer, may we stand to honor the Lord, the creator of heaven and earth. Father, in the mighty, blessed name of Jesus, today we want to say thank you because you are the God of the brokenhearted. You are the God who protects his people. We come to you, Lord, today that you may protect us, you may give us wisdom, even as we now want to start this public gathering of our budget. We want to say thank you, Lord. Our visitors have come and you have brought them safely. Thank you even for the families that they have left behind, even for our families. We want to say thank you, Lord. Now that we are beginning, my Father, we ask you, Lord, that your presence may be with us. We seek your protection, we seek your guidance, my Father, in this matter. And in the evening, my Father, when we shall finish, Lord, and clear with this, we would say thank you, Lord. Be with us, Lord, even as we are now beginning, my Father. Thank you for the opportunity that we, the Kisii Law Courts, we have been given the opportunity to bring this to the attention of the public. And we want to say thank you, Lord. In the most mighty name of Jesus, we pray and believe.
Asante. Tukiwa tumesimama tu hivyo, sitaki niwachoshe kwa kuambia msimame na mweza kuketi. Tutaweza kuimba wimbo wa taifa na baadaye tutaimba wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Hivyo ufundi wa mitambo tuongoze na wimbo wa taifa. Sote tunaomba tuweze kusimama. Asante, tunaweza tukaketi. Bila kupoteza wakati, ninaomba kuwa niweze kumpokeza mwenzangu, Mheshimiwa Omwansa, aweze kutupeleka kwa upande mwingine. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Nachukua muda huu kuwakaribisha nyinyi nyote jinsi mumeingia hapa kwa ajili ya makusudio yako mbeleni mwetu. Na najua ya kwamba yale ambayo tunaenda kufikiria kwa muda huu ni maneno ya bajeti ya judiciary. Na hii kikao ni kikao ya public participation. Andene kuna kuogotewa na rero tugukuligereria igoro ya mang'ana ye nengo na kiya rurwe na ende na kigo sembuye goja story judiciary go sembubere na kikiagerire mwensi pimwa aliganiwe mochega. Having said that, because of time and we want to be sticklers to time, wageni wote ambao wamefika mumekaribishwa. Now I want to invite the presiding judge for his remarks.
Good morning. Hamjambo. Wana Omugusi. Hamjambo. Mko wazima leo? Karibuni sana kotini hii yetu ya Kisii. Sijui ni wangapi wamefika hapa hapo awali, lakini hapa ndio tunafanya kesi zetu zote hapa Kisii, pamoja na koti ya Etago na koti ya Ugembo. Mimi naitwa Munyao Sila, mimi ndio presiding judge hapa Kisii. Nimewasimamia majaji hapa na magistrates hapa Kisii. Yangu itakuwa fupi na itakuwa kuwakaribisha, kuwaambia mjihisi nyumbani. Kwa kawaida koti mnakuja kufanya kesi, lakini leo hatujakuja kufanya kesi. Leo tumekuja ili tuwe na mjadala, tuongee, tupeane maoni yetu kuhusu bajeti ya judiciary, pesa ambayo inapewa kwa idara ya mahakama kwa muhula huu na muhula ujao na mwaka mwingine ujao, kama miaka mitatu hivi. Kwa kawaida pesa zote ambazo zinakuja kwa idara ya mahakama inatoka kwa serikali, si ati inatoka kwingine. Serikali iko na tuseme ni kama ile stool ile ya Kiafrika, iko na miguu mitatu. Tuko na executive ambayo inaongozwa na rais, tuko na parliament ambayo inaongozwa na speakers ambayo tunaita National Assembly, na tuko na judiciary, 3 arms of the government. Na those 3 arms of the government zote zinapata fedha ya kutumia kwa mahitaji yake kutoka kwa serikali moja. Kwa hivyo kuna mgao wa pesa. Kuna pesa ambayo inagawanywa kwa serikali kuu, pesa ambayo inagawanywa pia kwa county, pesa ambayo inagawanywa kwa idara ya parliament, na pesa pia ambayo inagawanywa kwa idara ya mahakama, judiciary. Nyinyi kama wananchi ndio mulilete constitution na kusema kutakuwa na mgao wa pesa kwa hizo idara 3. Na nyinyi kama wananchi, pesa za serikali pia zinatoka kwenu. Na nyinyi kama wananchi lazima tuwapatie fursa pia ya kusema vile mnaonelea inatakana iwe kwa mgao huo wa pesa. Na tumekuja kwa kikao hiki cha leo. Tuna bahati sana kwa sababu hivi vikao sio vingi nchini. Kwa hivyo tuna bahati sana ya kwamba Kisii imechaguliwa kuwa moja wa counties ambayo itakuwa na ita host public hearing, public participation hearing ya kuongea kuhusu fedha ambazo zinapeanwa kwa idara ya mahakama. Kwa hivyo yangu ni kuwakaribisha, yangu ni kuwaambia asante sana kwa kuja. Mumesikia mwito wa kuja participate na mmefika. Kama hamungefika, sijui tungekuwa na kikao cha aina gani. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana kwa kufika. tutakuwa na presentation fulani kutoka kwa Directorate wetu ya Finance. Pia tuko na commissioners wetu wa Judicial Service Commission. Idara ya mahakama inaongozwa na commissioners ambao wanaitwa Judicial Service Commissioners. Tuko na Judicial Service Commission na tuko na commissioners. Tuko na commissioners hapa. Watapata fursa ya kujitangaza hapo mbele kidogo, lakini nawakaribisha wote. Na kwa hayo machache, ninataka tuingie mara moja kwa program. Na program yetu, tuko pia na, apart from commissioners, tuko na representatives wa judiciary kutoka kwa region hii, kutoka Migori, judge wa Migori yuko hapa, pia kutoka Rongo, tuko na magistrate wa Migori, wote wako hapa. Sawa, kwa hivyo tuko na representation ya judiciary kutoka kwa commissioners, kutoka kwa directors na kutoka kwa region hii ya Kisii. Watapata fursa ya kuongea na mtawajua hapo mbele. Sawa. Kwa sasa tunataka tuingie kwa program ambayo tuko kwa introductory remarks, na nimeshapeana yangu. Wacha ni muite chair wa Law Society of Kenya, pia naye apeane opening remarks zake. Karibu sana Mr. Gichana.
Distinguished guests, our judges, our commissioners, judiciary officers, colleagues in the legal profession, and all participants, good morning. My name is Mr. Ben Gichana. I am the LSK Chair, Southwest Branch, and I would wish to recognize the presence of advocates. How many are in the premises? Rise up kindly. We have two so far. Leo inakuwaga siku ya matanga hapa Kisii. So it's normally, we have Mr. Nyambati, a former chair, and we have Mr. Maeche, who is the Secretary General of the branch. It's my honor to address you today on behalf of the Southwest Branch of the Law Society of Kenya during this public hearing on the judiciary's medium-term expenditure framework budget report for the financial year 2025-2026 to 2027-2028. This occasion reflects our collective commitment to a robust and equitable judicial system that ensures access to justice for all Kenyans. As a Southwest branch, our region presents unique challenges and opportunities that require targeted interventions. The priorities we outline today are informed by the specific needs of our communities and the legal practitioners serving them. Number one, modernization of Kisii Law Courts. Land for the new and modern Kisii Law Court building has already been allocated, but the project requires funding to commence construction. A modern facility would not only address the existing inadequacies, but also serve the increasing demand for judicial services in this high-volume station. We urge the judiciary to prioritize budgetary allocation for the construction and completion of this court in the coming fiscal year. Secondly, we have the alternative justice system training needs. While AJS has shown great promise in addressing disputes at the community level, its effective implementation requires trained personnel. In the Southwest region, we face a critical need for funds to train mediators, elders, and other stakeholders involved in AJS. Expanding capacity in this area will ensure that AJS mechanisms are more accessible and effective, particularly for the marginalized communities. Thirdly, establishment of a Court of Appeal bench in Kisii. Currently, litigants in our region must travel to Kisumu for Court of Appeal matters, which is both costly and time-consuming. To alleviate this burden, we recommend the establishment of a permanent Court of Appeal bench in Kisii. Alternatively, additional resources should be allocated to expand the existing bench in Kisumu to enhance its capacity and reduce case backlogs. Thirdly, Employment and Labor Relations Court in Kisii. Our region lacks an Employment and Labor Relations Court, forcing litigants to travel to Kisumu or Kericho for their cases. This not only delays access to justice, but impose financial and logistical challenges on the litigants and advocates. Establishing an ELRC court in Kisii would be a transformative step in bringing justice closer to our people and addressing the rising number of labor disputes in our region. Number 5, increased pro bono funding. Access to legal representation remains a significant challenge for indigent litigants. Pro bono services are vital in ensuring justice for the vulnerable and marginalized. We request that additional funds be allocated for pro bono programs to facilitate fair compensation for advocates offering these services and to promote broad access to justice. Number 6, court automation and digital transformation. We commend the judiciary's efforts in adopting technological solutions such as e-filing and virtual court systems. However, the Southwest region continues to face challenges with infrastructure, internet connectivity, and power outages. Adequate funding must be allocated to equip our courts in our region with the necessary digital tools and train staff and advocates on their use. This will ensure seamless case management and timely delivery of justice. Number 7, we have judicial workforce expansion. Our region requires more judicial officers, particularly in Manga and Borabu law courts, which since establishment have never had a judicial officer. This will address the increasing caseload. We also recommend an additional judge, High Court judge at Kisii to enhance efficiency. Kisii used to be a 2-judge bench station. Investments in hiring and deploying more judges, magistrate, and support staff will alleviate the existing delays and backlogs. And number 8, we have the support for social transformation through access to justice, SJAJ. The vision emphasizes inclusivity, efficiency, and responsiveness in the administration of justice, allocating resources to community outreach, court users committee, and public legal education in our region will deepen trust in the justice system and empower citizens to seek judicial remedies confidently. In conclusion, the Southwest branch fully supports the judiciary's pursuit of improved access to justice and institutional independence. We hope that these region-based recommendations will be given due consideration, ensuring that the judiciary's budget is responsive to the needs of our communities and capable of transforming lives. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this vital discussion. Together we can build a judiciary. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. So we are moving to the next level. And the one also to make is our contribution is the county commissioner. I'm informed there is being. It is your time, just come. Meanwhile, hapo ndio tunakura kamusiki kidogo. Wazo muziki ni eliogo. Tulisema music ni medicine. Karibu sana madam.
Public present, all protocols observed, habari yenu. Leo nimetumwa na ofisi ya County Commissioner kumwakilisha kwa hii shughuli muhimu ya public participation, na aliniambia nikifika hapa niwasalimie. So mmesalimika. So nataka kuwakaribisha haswa na muweze kushiriki kwa jinsi ambavyo inatakikana. Maoni yenu ni muhimu sana, na ningependa tukishiriki tuweze kushiriki kwa njia ambayo inaleta hoda, as in tushiriki kwa njia ambayo inakubalika, ndio tuweze kuokoa muda. Kwa hivyo nafikiri public participation ni hitaji moja ya kikatiba. Kwa hivyo yapendeza kuona mmefika mahali hapa, ndio maoni yenu iweze kuzingatiwa, na pia Tungependa kuhimiza judiciary wakati wanaenda kupata hizi resources waweze kuzitumia kwa njia ambayo inahitajika, ndio mwananchi wa kawaida haweze kupata haki. Wakati judiciary hawana resources ya kutosha, accessibility ya justice inakuwa ngumu. Kwa hivyo ni mapendekezo yetu judiciary waweze kupata resources ambayo itaweza kutosheleza mahitaji yao, tuweze kuwa na judges wa kutosha, magistrates and all the judiciary officers, ndio haki iweze kupatikana, na pia tusikuwe na backlog. Unajua wengi wanasema justice delayed is justice denied. So hatuwezi taka kunyimwa justice. So tunataka justice kama inahitajika iweze kupatikana kwa muda ambayo inawezekana. So nawashukuru. So maoni yenu wananchi, nafikiri itafaa zaidi kwa shughuli ya leo. So kwa wote nawashukuru. So asanteni sana kwa hii nafasi.
Asante sana. Si mnaombea makofi ya Kiro. Hebu 1 2 3 off. Sawa kabisa, lakini naona hatujajifundisha, lakini tutajifundisha vile muda inazidi kuenda mbele. Sasa at this time also I want to take this time to invite the governor. I'm told is represented by the deputy governor also to make his remarks.
Dr. B on these, ladies and gentlemen.
Karibu sana.
First of all, allow me, Presiding Judge, to pass the regards of His Excellency, the Governor Paul Simbarati, who would have wished to be with us this morning, but was engaged elsewhere in nation building. Allow me, therefore, to read his speech without wasting time. The Deputy Commissioner, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Honorable Frida Mokaya, the Presiding Judge, Justice Munyao, the High Court Judge, Kisi, Honorable Teresa Odera, the Head of Station and the Honorable Magistrates of Kisi Law Courts, the Chair, Law Society of Kenya, Kisi Branch, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to the Judicial Service Commission as they visit KC. Secondly, I wish to register our appreciation of the role the judiciary plays in dispensing justice to preserve the rule of law and safeguard of the Constitution. I am a firm believer in the independence of the judiciary as one of the arms of government that dispenses justice through conflict resolution in the courts. I note with appreciation the tremendous progress the judiciary has made in broadening access to justice through innovative ways among them alternative dispute resolutions and virtual hearings. All these developments in the quest to promote access to justice that requires heavy capital investments. However, just like the case of county governments, the available budget is not sufficient to meet the resource requirements that you actually need. Ladies and gentlemen, from your records, I have noted that the overall funding deficit stands at 38%, which means most priority projects and programs will not be funded. This is why I encourage your desire to engage with the development partners to mobilize additional funding to reduce this gap. Here in Kisi, we commend the judiciary for the investments aimed at promoting access to justice and efficiency in dispute resolutions through the courts. Our people can access court service at Kisi Ogembo, Etago, and Keroka. It is gratifying to note that the judiciary operationalized the small claims court-annexed mediation and alternative justice system in Kisii for the benefit of our people. Going forward, we are ready to provide temporary accommodation for mobile courts in 6 sub-counties that do not have courts, even as we make land available for permanent courts. This would reduce distance our people cover in search of judicial services. In the interim, the judiciary may consider enhancing the mobile court program to bring service closer to the people at the grassroots. As a county government, we are committed to partner with the judiciary to expand access to court services. As we have discussed before, we need to establish a county court to deal with non-criminal matters related to enforcement and compliance to our local bylaws. We had identified a parcel of land to house these premises, but this project was hampered by an existing court case which has since been resolved. In the meantime, where need shall arise, we shall make available facilities that can temporarily house mediation suits and small claim courts. I urge the judiciary to prioritize budgetary allocations toward the new approaches, especially court-annexed mediation, which will not only decongest courts, but also maintain relationships among parties in disputes. Finally, we strongly support the alternative justice system with the involvement of traditional and indigenous dispute resolution mechanism as a means of justice. Investment in courts, outreach, and community awareness programs will improve our people's understanding of the justice system. I wish you all fruitful engagement in this exercise and pledge to work with the judiciary as a partner in access to justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor within the county of Kisii. So we are moving next again to commissioners. This is their time, and I want to invite Commissioner Evelyn Ruante to lead the rest.
Wakire wenye nchi wa Bosongo. Sisikika mnaongea kama wenye nchi, mnaongea kama wananchi. Nyinyi ni wenye nchi ama wananchi? Wakire wenye nchi wa Bosongo. Asanteni. Kwa majina naitwa Olwande Evelyn. Mimi ni commissioner katika tume inayohusika na mambo ya mahakama, na niko hapa na makomishna wenzangu ambao ningependa niwatambulishe kwenu. Tuko hapa na Commissioner Jacqueline Ngutia, if you could stand up and wave. Anawakilisha LSK, chama cha mawakili. Tuko hapa na Commissioner Charity Kisotu, na yeye anawakilisha tume ya Public Service Commission. Tuko hapa na Commissioner Justice Fatuma Sichale, na yeye anawakilisha koti ya rufaa. Na tuko hapa na Commissioner Caroline Nzilani Ajuoga, na yeye anawakilisha wenye nchi wote pamoja na mimi na nyinyi. Before nianze, niko na speech hapa kutoka kwa idara ya mahakama, but before tume ya mahakama, but before nianze na hiyo speech, ningependa niongee kidogo tu kwa sababu gani tuko hapa. Vile mimi ninaelewa, tuko hapa kwa sababu katiba inasema katika katika kipengele cha article 10, katika values, national values, tunafaa wakati tuna make any decision tunahusisha wenye nchi ambao ni nyinyi. So this is a public participation exercise on the budget of the judiciary. Na vile ninaelewa kuna mambo matatu ningependa tufanye hapa. Jambo la kwanza ni kuwajulisha juu ya budget ya judiciary na JSC. Ile pesa tulipatiwa mwaka jana, financial year mwaka jana tulifanya nini, na hii mwaka unakuja tunataka kufanya nini. La pili, tungependa tuelewane, wasiliane, mtuambie vile munaona na pia sisi tuambie vile tunafanya. La tatu na la muhimu zaidi ni kuwaongelesha ili mkue ambassadors, kama ambassadors wa tume ya mahakama. Kwa sababu vile mumesikia wale waliongea hapa mbele yangu, tume ya mahakama tuko na changamoto nyingi sana ikifika kwa mambo ya rasilimali ama resources ama mambo ya finance. And inaonekana kiwazi kwamba hatuelewani hasa hii budget ya mahakama ina impact vipi mwananchi. Tunakujaga kila mwaka, hii ni mara yetu ya kwanza kuja Kisii, lakini tunatembeaga across the republic tukiongea juu ya budget. Tutakaa hapa tuwasikize, mtatuambia mnayotaka, tutawaambia vile tumepanga, kisha tunafika pahali inakuwa kikomo, hakuna pesa. And every time nikisikia wanasiasa wakiwa kidogo tumekwaruzana, wakienda kwa public podium wanasema judiciary inasumbua, tunataka tukate budget, wananchi wanapiga makofi. Saa ingine najiuliza, hawa wanaelewa kweli hiyo kukata budget inamaanisha nini? Wakati mnatuambia mnataka small claims court, mnataka mediation, mnataka AJS training ya elders, mnataka hiki na kile kifanyike kwa mahakama, hiyo pesa inatoka wapi pale ambapo wanasema watakata? So I'm hoping baada ya kuelewana leo, tukishasemezana na tumewasiliana, tumesikia wasia kutoka kwenu na nyinyi mmesikia changamoto tunazo face, siku nyingine mwanasiasa akisema tutakata budget ya judiciary, I want to hear the loudest no from where? From where? And especially from where? Here. Nisikieko kwamba Kisii ndio wamekuwa wa kwanza kusema hapana, you cannot touch the judiciary budget. Tunaelewana? Okay, thank you. So now let me start by reading the speech of the Judicial Service Commission. Honorable Commissioners, the Chief Registrar, represented this morning by the Honorable Registrar High Court, Honorable Clarence Otieno, Presiding Judge Kisii Law Courts, heads of stations present, our judicial officers and staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. May I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the JSC and the Judiciary Budget Public Participation Hearings for the financial year 2025-2026 and the medium term. I wish to thank you all for finding time to be with us during this important event in our budget making process. This public participation forum is the first having been conducted on the 8th of November 2024 at Kitui, the second one in Narok on 12th of November 2024. Other such forums will be held in Isiolo on the 19th of November 2024, and the last one shall be in Nairobi on the 26th of November 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, public participation in the budgeting process is an important requirement under our Constitution, as it enables the stakeholders, particularly at the court station level, to engage in the planning process, to identify development needs and propose homegrown solutions to address any challenges. It also helps in promoting inclusivity in the budget-making process, thus enhancing greater ownership and participation of Kenyans in subsequent program implementation. It enables stakeholders to better appreciate the resource constraints and the prioritization of planned programs, and it also enhances openness and transparency by providing a platform for receiving feedback from the public on the effectiveness of public spending for accountability. The Commission's participation demonstrates its commitment to involve the public in the conduct of its programs and activities. The Commission recognizes the immense contribution of stakeholders in its processes and has streamlined public participation in the execution of its constitutional mandate, notably during recruitment processes where members of the public are invited to provide information on shortlisted candidates and also during policy development initiatives. The mandate of the Commission is stipulated in Article 172 of the Constitution, and it is to promote and facilitate the independence and accountability of the judiciary and the efficient, effective, and transparent administration of justice. This clearly demonstrates that the output of the judiciary and the Commission are closely linked, hence the need to review their budget proposals jointly. The Commission focus for the financial year 2025-2026 budget proposals will therefore be on the implementation of priority programs guided by the constitutional mandates, the National Development Agenda under the Bottom-Up Economic Transformation Agenda, that is better, and the Commission's Strategic Plan 2022-2027. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commission's and Judiciary's recent achievements, priorities of the next budget cycle, and the attendant budget shall be presented by our teams in this forum today. During the court visits held in the last financial year, the Commission visited Kisii law courts and held sessions with the CUCs, the judicial officers and judicial staff, and received memoranda on a couple of issues. I wish to report that the Commission is keen to implement what is within its powers. Some of the addressed concerns include approval of promotions for judicial staff in JSG 10 to JSG 5, and redesignation of staff, among others. I wish to assure Kisii County residents that the Commission is alive to the feedback received during the court visits on the need to prioritize establishment of courts in sub-counties without courts, i.e. Kitutu, Chache, and Nyaribari, Masaba. The same will be considered once the funds are available. We are grateful for the support by the county government of Kisii for donating land and buildings to the judiciary for the establishment of a court at Masimba and Gesusu. And I think I also want to extend sincere gratitude to the governor and the county government of Kisii because they've been very supportive in giving us support whenever we've knocked at their doors. You've heard this morning of their willingness to provide facilities for mobile courts, even as we are seeking to establish permanent courts in areas that have no courts. And they've also made promises to provide facilities for the small claims courts and the court annex mediation suites. And these two approaches to access to justice, of course, will go a long way in alleviating our backlog. This will go a long way in enhancing access to justice due to the proximity of courts to the public. Whereas the Commission has made considerable progress to facilitate efficient, effective, and transparent administration of justice in the judiciary, there is much more to be done. The Commission is, however, confident that the systems that have been put in place will yield positive outcomes as evidenced by improved performance across the judiciary. The Commission will continue to engage the Executive and the National Assembly for enhanced allocation of resources to the Commission and the judiciary to facilitate the performance of our constitutional mandate. I extend the Commission's gratitude to the judges, judicial officers, and judicial staff for their dedication and hard work, which has been instrumental in driving the success observed in the judiciary. Lastly, on behalf of the Commission, I wish to assure the people of Kenya and our stakeholders of the Commission's commitment to promoting and facilitating the independence and accountability of the judiciary and enhancing the efficient, effective, and transparent administration of justice through various planned programs. With those many remarks, I wish to assure you that the contributions that you'll be making this morning will help focus the budget proposals and ultimately the financial year 2025-2026 budget for the judiciary and the Commission, which will be submitted to Parliament in April 2025. I thank you all.
Asante sana Commissioner. We are moving next. We are almost through with the presentation. The talks. Then we will go to the main item. At the moment, now we want to invite the one who's in charge of these monies we are talking about. That is the Chief Registrar of Judiciary. I know she's not with us here, but she has sent somebody to speak on our behalf. So, Madam, you are invited. That is the High Court Registrar, Madam Clara Tieno. You're just welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Nyanza. To the JSC commissioners present, our honorable judges present in this meeting, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the great people of Kisii County, good morning. Hamjambo. Boakire. As you've heard, my name is Clara Otieno Omondi. I have the pleasure of serving as a Registrar High Court, and today I'm here to represent our Chief Registrar, Honorable Mokaya, who would have liked to be here, but is on another official assignment. She sends her greetings. Mumepokea. Thank you. Allow me now to read the written speech of the Honorable CRJ. So these are the opening remarks delivered by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary during the Judiciary and Judicial Service Commission Public Hearing Forum for financial year 2025-2026 at Kisii Law Courts. To the Honorable Commissioners of the JSC present, Honorable Mr. Justice Sila Munyao, the Presiding Judge Kisii, Honorable Lady Justice Anne Onginjo, Presiding Judge Migori High Court, Honorable Lady Justice Teresa Odera, the Judge of the High Court in Kisii, Honorable Stella Abuya, Head of Station Kisii Law Courts, Heads of Stations of other courts under the jurisdiction of Kisii High Court, Honorable Magistrates present, members of the Court Users Committee, development partners, all participants, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great honor and pleasure to welcome you all to this public hearing on the Judiciary and Judicial Service Commission budget proposals for the financial year 2025-2026 and for the medium-term plan. One fundamental centerpiece of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is the requirement for public participation as a key principle of governance. The framers of our Constitution deliberately crafted it as such so that it serves as a reminder that the people are the donors of the power that we exercise. By holding this forum, we do not just seek to fulfill the legal requirements under Article 201 of the Constitution and Section 37(5) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 for the sake of it. We do so in recognition of our duty to be open to scrutiny and accountability, and with a genuine desire to receive feedback. Under the current judiciary vision, we have committed to create a strong institution that is independent, accessible, efficient, and that protects the rights of all, especially the vulnerable. Financial independence is a central part of this aspiration. We are therefore grateful that you have elected to join us as we share a review of the past performance and as we make proposals on strategies for dispensation of justice and allocation of resources. During this engagement, we will be reporting back to you on the utilization of the resources that were allocated to us during the previous budget cycle. We will also present our proposal for the next budget cycle. In the reports that we will present, we evaluate the past performance and seek to establish the resource requirements for allocation to key priority areas in line with the social transformation through access to justice blueprint, STAJ, and the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The STAJ is the strategic vision that we are currently implementing. In today's digital world, STAJ identifies technology as a medium for improving efficiency in service delivery. I'm certain most of us will agree that e-filing and virtual courts have made it easier to access our services. We have done a lot in terms of ICT, but there is yet to be done, more to be done. Allow me to highlight some of the key milestones with regard to the adoption of technology in the judiciary. First, we've had the rollout of the e-filing to all court stations in March 2024. We have also developed the cause list portal where daily cause lists for all courts are accessible. We have undertaken the commissioning of a court decisions portal where decisions from all courts are published and is open to the public. We have also undertaken digitization of court records through the Ajira program. We are currently implementing the Enterprise Resource Planning System, the ERP, to improve efficiency in internal processes. We have also developed a judiciary mobile app for filing and case tracking. As we take pride in the technological advancements, we are alive to the danger of digitally excluding a section of our customers. We are constantly thinking about new ways of ensuring access to our online services by all, despite the digital limitations. We will also appreciate your feedback on this. In terms of our infrastructure projects, we are happy to report that the construction of Wanguru Law Courts and the Marsabit Judges' residence is now complete. We also recently opened the newly constructed Dagoretti Law Courts in Nairobi and Kamwangi Law Courts in Gatundu North. Going forward, the key priority areas that we plan to implement include sustaining automation of our services, expansion of people-centered justice initiatives, such as the alternative justice systems, the court-annexed mediation, specialized courts, establishment of more courts and sub-registries, and financing court operations. We also have a number of ongoing capital projects which require sustained funding. The resources required for the judiciary to undertake the above key priorities in financial year 2025-2026 is Kenya shillings 40.1 billion, comprising of Kenya shillings 31.6 billion for recurrent expenditure and Kenya shillings 8.5 billion for development. However, the annual indicative budget proposal for the judiciary is for Kenya shillings 24.937 billion, out of which Kenya shillings 23.437 billion is recurrent, while Kenya shillings 1.5 billion is development. This leaves us with a funding gap of Kenya shillings 15.15 billion, which translates to 38%. Ladies and gentlemen, we are undertaking this engagement today together with the Judicial Service Commission. The JSC, as you may know, is the institution that bears the constitutional mandate to promote and facilitate the independence and accountability of the judiciary. To execute this mandate, the Commission is implementing its strategic plan 2022-2027, which outlines the following long-term strategic results to be achieved in the next 5 years. The first is efficient, accountable, transparent, and transformative administration of justice, motivated, professional, dynamic, responsive judges, magistrates, registrars, and judicial staff, financial independence, and sustainable judiciary and judicial service commission, increased public confidence and trust in the JSC, strengthened institutional capacity of the JSC. To implement the priorities, the Commission resource requirements for financial year 2025-2026 is Kenya shillings 1.932 billion. However, the current JSC indicative budget allocation is Kenya shillings 821 million, representing a funding deficit of Kenya shillings 1.1 billion, which translates to 57%. As we continue engaging the relevant institutions for enhanced funding for both the judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission, we must carefully prioritize the services to be delivered to the public using the available resources. During this public forum, you'll be taken through the details of the key achievements highlighted above, as well as a breakdown of the proposed resource requirements. We therefore invite you to review, provide comments that will enrich the budget proposals. We value your feedback. With those brief remarks, I welcome you once again to this budget public hearing engagement, and I now declare the forum officially open.
Mnasemaje kwa hayo? Najua angesema that it is not open, ingekuwa tungetoa maoni ama namna gani? It is reached a time ile ya kuangalia sasa ni mahesabu, na kuko na wengine ambao walikuwa wanaona stars kifika wakati kwa hesabu. Sasa wale ambao wako wanaona stars watatusaidia. So I want at this particular time to invite the first presentation, that is a presentation of the judiciary performance overview and the budget outlook. The Director of Finance Judiciary, you are invited. So I want at this particular time to invite the first presentation, that is a presentation of the judiciary performance overview and the budget outlook. The Director of Finance Judicial.
Honorable commissioners, honorable judges, our distinguished guests, and all present and all protocols observed. Good morning. My name is Beatrice, Director of Finance, Judiciary, and I will take you through a detailed presentation on our budget, and this we'll be looking at accounting for the finances that we received in the last financial year, as well as our proposed budget, as it has been mentioned by our accounting officer representative. We have a tentative ceiling, and we will be taking you through our proposed areas of funding. So the presentation will basically focus on an introduction, the past performance, our priority areas, our resource requirements, and therefore the resource gap, some challenges and recommendations that we will be making. And as it has been mentioned, this is an obligation that the Constitution of Kenya provides and requires us that we give the public an opportunity, and this is both the Constitution and Article 201 and the Public Finance Management Act under Section 37(5), that we give the public an opportunity to participate in the budget preparation process. Further, our budget is guided, the process is guided again by the Constitution under Article 173(3) of the Constitution, which requires the Chief Registrar to prepare the estimates for the following financial year and submit them to the National Assembly by 30th of April. We are further guided by the Public Finance Management Act and its regulations, the Judicial Service Act, and the Judiciary Fund Act and its regulation while preparing the budget. And the budget is well aligned to our mission and vision as the judiciary, as well as our mandate, and it's also aligned to the National Development Agenda, which is the Vision 2030, the medium-term plan, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda objectives, and other government policy directions that we receive from time to time. We do have our blueprint, which is the social transformation through access to justice. and we align the budget process. This is our guiding policy document. We align the budget on those principles of the STARG, and there are 5 of them: accessibility and efficiency, transparency and accountability, and I believe that is why we are here today, to indeed account to you and to be very transparent in the way we are using your resources. Inclusive and shared leadership. That is why we have also come here, because we believe in shared leadership and evolving the same. Cooperative dialogue, where we are partnering with all of you as our key stakeholders, and social justice. So our budget is well aligned to that, to those principles. And now we will look at how well we performed, or how we utilize the finances that were advanced to the judiciary. In terms of figures, we have averaged at 95% absorption rate over the last 3 years. And in the last financial year, we were at 96%. You will see the green is the recurrent budget, and the yellow is development budget. And you note that we have, for instance, for the last financial year, our absorption for development went down, and so did the one for recurrent. And this was mainly because of lack of exchequer. At the end of the financial year, we had used the money, but we did not get the actual cash. So we've had to carry a lot of pending bills. In terms of our core business, I don't know whether it's the power, I think it's back. So case clearance, we were at 99%. If I can be assisted to bring back the projection on the screen, please, our technical people. Our case backlog, we reduced the case backlog by 10%. And in terms of mediation, we were able to achieve a settlement rate of 55.9%, and this released 35.1 billion back to the economy. In terms of enhanced access to justice, we established 3 high court stations, 3 environment and land courts, 3 magistrate courts, including Etago for this region, 27 small claims courts with a special focus on the border towns. 2 tribunals also transited to the judiciary, that is the capital markets, and the National Examination Appeals Tribunals, they transited. And in addition, we also established some sub-registries, and this included 2 in the High Court, 1 in the Environment and Land Court, 1 in the Employment and Labor Relations Court, and 9 court annex mediation sub-registries were also established. One of the ways, because we are not present everywhere, one of the ways to listen and determine matters is by conducting court circuits. And this is done by the superior courts. And the Court of Appeal conducted 28 of them, with a total caseload of 155 being resolved. High Court conducted 34, and 1,393 matters were heard and determined. For the ELRC, 7 circuits were conducted. Again, 354 matters were heard and determined. The ELC conducted 6, with 97 cases being heard and determined, while the tribunals conducted 32 circuits, and 2,830 matters were heard and determined. The High Court also conducted service weeks, and these were 10 of them, where 1,158 matters were heard and determined. ELRC held 1 service week, where 84 matters were again heard and determined. Tribunals held several service weeks, and 3,360 matters were heard and determined. Under the Mahakama Popote, and Mahakama Popote is where we have our judicial officers who are serving in stations with lower caseload, taking up matters where with stations with higher caseloads. We had a total number of cases, 7,665 being distributed to other judicial officers, and they were able to hear and resolve 6,269 cases. Under the Rapid Results Initiative, we held 12 of them countrywide, and 1,585 cases were heard and determined. We also undertook alternative justice system, where a total of 1,256 cases were referred to AJS, and with a settlement rate of 85%, and this was very commendable compared to the 41% in the previous year. We have continued leveraging on technology, and the country went live on e-filing under the year under review in March, and all courts now have an e-filing system, and with that rollout, we were able to have 295,322 cases registered from all the courts during that period. Case tracking system, we have continued to enhance it and improve it with additional features to case tracking system being introduced. And notably, we are now able to automate mention dates in all magistrate courts and high courts, and as well as uploading judgments and rulings, which are accessible to all our stakeholders. Another feature that was introduced is the case list portal, where now we have a link where one can access the course list for all the cases. Then another portal that was introduced is on the court decisions, where again the public can access the court decisions. We continued digitizing court records, because as we went e-filing, that was for moving forward. We have all the old cases that we need to digitize, and here we engaged our youth under the Ajira program. We've done it in 5 phases, and we were able to engage 1,040 youths, where a total of 325,651 court files were digitized. We also were able to digitize the sexual offender electronic register, and 1,672 records were scanned and uploaded into that electronic register. In terms of transcription services, We now have a National Transcription Center, and in the year under review, 1,476 records were transcribed. And as you can see, we also had the data tracking portal, and this provides a link for each judge and judicial officer to issue notices and to alert the litigant on any event that may affect court sittings. In terms of infrastructure, we continued expanding the ICT infrastructure and being linked to the national fiber optic backhaul initiative. And in terms of our buildings, I think this had been mentioned by our accounting officer, that we were able to complete the judges' residence in Marsabit, and Wanguru Law Court was also completed. And that is the residence you can see. Wanguru, this was initially a stalled project for a very long time. We were able to complete that. Under the human resource, 20 new High Court judges were appointed and sworn in, and 9 legal researchers were recruited. Further, 32 resident magistrates were designated as adjudicators to attend to matters under the small claims court, and this brought the number of adjudicators to 131. The judiciary also swears in chairpersons and members of the tribunals, and 39 chairpersons and members were sworn in for 12 tribunals. So those are just pictures on the swearing-ins, both for the judges and the members of the tribunal. And now we can look at how well this region we are in performed. And this includes Kisii, Nyamira, Etago, Keroka, and Ogembo law courts. In terms of case clearance, we were at 91%. You can compare that with the national clearance rate of 99%. And in terms of case backlog, we still have 4,866 cases. The number of registered cases through the e-filing for this region were 19,810. Under the Ajira program, we were able to scan documents and cases, 3,973. And through the Ajira program, 55 youths of this region were engaged. Under the court annex mediation, a total of 1,499 matters were referred to the mediation under this region, with a settlement rate of 93%. And this resulted in release of 2.9 billion back to the economy. We now turn to our proposed budget for the next financial year. And we will focus on how do we want to allocate the funds that have been proposed to be advanced to the judiciary. Under the access to justice, we will be focusing on expansion of small claims courts across the country, establishment of magistrate courts. Ideally, we should have a magistrate court in each sub-county in line with our blueprint, but we are not yet there. Establishing high courts in each county in line with our Judicial Service Act. Establishment and rollout of additional ELC and ELRC courts. I think this has been mentioned by even our stakeholders. Expansion of court annex mediation program. promotion and mainstreaming of EJS in courts and sensitization and capacity building of our communities. Adoption, we want to still continue adopting technology for justice administration, promoting access to justice for vulnerable groups, including establishment of sexual gender-based violence courts and child-friendly courts, completion of our ongoing court constructions, establishment of new sub-registries and conducting circuit sessions by superior courts, conducting mobile courts under the subordinate courts. In terms of our sub-program on general administration, planning and support services, we are looking at enhancement of security in our court facilities. Our court facilities are very vulnerable because of the poor infrastructure we have, and our judicial officers have even been attacked, and we even lost one recently. Improve administration of financial management services by implementing the Judiciary Enterprise Resource Planning System. This is a new system that we have introduced, and we hope it will improve our services so that we are able to serve you better. Provision of internet and ICT equipment, and especially to enable us to process instant cash bail and fines, and automation of our court services, including the e-filing, facilitation of state officers and court stations through leasing of motor vehicles, provision of fuel and maintenance. We are also looking at continuous recruitment of our judges and judicial officers as well as staff, so that our courts are well equipped in terms of the human resource, as well as improving the working environment. You find that our courts are very congested. So how much have we been given and how much did we request for in the coming year? We requested a total of 40 billion, but the indicative ceiling is 24.9 billion. The resource requirement under recurrent is 31.6, but the proposed ceiling is 23.4 billion, while in development we had requested 8.5 billion, but what has been proposed is only 1.5 billion. This has given us a rise of, a deficit of 38%. And with the highest, of course, in terms of percentage, being the development at 82%, while recurrent is at 26% deficit. As our previous speakers have mentioned, we are not only just relying on the GOK funding, we are reaching out to other development partners just to see how to reduce the financing gap. With that deficit, this will mean that the following areas, which are very key, will still remain underfunded. And this will include, because we wanted to recruit more judges and judicial officers and staff, it means that budget will still remain underfunded. That comes with other areas like the insurances, automation of our courts and list printers. You realize with e-filing, a lot of the printing has now been brought back to the courts because the advocates now are doing e-filing, but now the printing is for the court to do. Court circuits, service weeks, mobile courts, prison visits will all be affected. Open days, operationalization of courts, establishment of registries, witness expenses, pro bono, mediation. Indeed, we have huge pending bills. As I mentioned, we crossed over with very huge pending bills, and these are areas that will remain underfunded. Expansion of our offices and courts, as well as equipping those courts, facilitation of special benches, and many other. That's just a highlight of some of the major areas. And therefore, when we look at our challenges, of course, the underlying one is the insufficient funding. And over the years, the judiciary has continued being grossly underfunded. We are also seeing another challenge because of the automation, and we as judiciary seem to be moving faster than our other justice players, and this is an area we are also seeking that the other justice players be facilitated so that we are at par. Of course, the other challenge which has ably been presented here is our poor court infrastructure. I've already talked about security and pro bono services and inadequate adjudicators to cope up with the increased workload in the small claims courts, which seems to be registering a lot of cases. With those challenges, we have a few recommendations, and as our chair for the budget committee, the finance, planning and administration committee in the JSC mentioned, we are seeking your partnership in us being allocated additional resources so that we are adequately funded. I've mentioned about the automation, facilitating other justice players, court infrastructure, security, where we are seeking for more enhanced security, and pro bono. We are saying that the National Legal Aid Services should be adequately capacitated so that they are able to facilitate pro bono services sufficiently. And in terms of the human resource, we would want to have more adjudicators for the small claims court so that they are able to cope up with the huge case workload. I wish to stop there and just to mention that what we have presented is just a highlight. If you go to our website, you'll find a detailed report of the budget. It has much more details. You will also find the easy guide that we have distributed. I think we didn't have enough copies, but that is a quick citizen guide. You will find them in our website, and you are free to engage and give us even more comments. Thank you very much. I wish to invite my colleague from the Judicial Service Commission to make his presentation. Thereafter, we will open up to plenary for feedback and comments. Thank you.
As he comes, kukona mwenye hii gari KCH 808K. Shughulikia hii gari penye imekuwa packed. Na vile vile nataka kusema just one thing that we just said. Vile amesema kwa lugha ya mama, just a minute, I'm not taking long. Number one, nebi inabidi bibwata matengo konya tusumbueta iga ataratabuka ikumi ya emia biatabukiwa magana italia manya. Yes. Toko genda negindu kinde go ngupikyo na libintu bibiri byuko. Na balia bagotigonga abana baitu. Bali bagorokwa batigongi. Bona iga igo babikire orota. orote jigire mbegura usegutaka orota ya Kenya ngima igero igokumanya mutigongi ukare Kericho umanyo mutigongi ule Busunga umanyo ukare Etago abonsi amagana italia marongayo okonya baramba tigongi kabiragu tubakururerie gusebona abuna banta babe kabisa batakire gukururerie gwa mono mbagendera na mangana yuyo bosaria. Having said that, now we invite the finance director.
Commissioners, presiding judge, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to ride on the protocol already established by my colleagues. I would have spoken Kisii like him, but what I believe you're saying is that the budget that has been presented before you, actually it's fit for purpose, but anataka musaidie judiciary ipate pesa mingi. Now I'm going to present the one for Judicial Service Commission. Judicial Service Commission is the one that works, actually deals with the employment of everybody who works at the judiciary. I'll be brief. My outline will be just basically Judicial Service Commission ni nani. Tutaangalia performance review, pesa ambazo mlitupea zile miaka zingine, miaka 3 zimepita, tumetumia kufanya nini, alafu tuna propose nini kwa ile mwaka ambayo inakuja, na challenges and recommendations, which obviously my colleague Beatrice has already highlighted. Wengi wenyu hamjui kuwa nini ni Judicial Service Commission. There is a thin line between Judicial Service Commission na judiciary, lakini kwa kibrief ningejua hiyo word in Kiswahili, lakini kwa kishoto ningesema kuwa kwa ufupi, thank you madam. Kwa ufupi ni kuwa Judicial Service Commission ndio huwa ina recommend appointment ya judges to the president, review and make recommendation conditions of service. Inamaanisha kuwa ile ambayo marupurupu ambayo wafanyikazi wa huduma wanapewa, it's been done by Judicial Service Commission. Wana receive complaints, na wakisha receive your complaints wana investigate, alafu wanachukua they do what they called action based on the complaints received. They also train judicial judges and judicial officers, and also advise serikali kuu kuhusu mambo ya judiciary na pia justice sector, na pia receive and consider petitions for removal of judges, alafu pia wana recommend tribunal to be set. So kwa kifupi, Judicial Service Commission ni ambayo ina deal na kila kitu kuhusu wale ambao wamekuwa ajiriwa na judiciary. Now, to prepare our budget ya Judicial Service Commission, we follow the strategic plan, na tuko na outcomes 5 ambazo tulikuwa tumeset, na hivyo ndo pia tumeprepare budget yetu. Ya kwanza ni kuwa tukue efficient, effective, accountable. Ya pili, ile pesa ambazo tunapewa tuweze kuisustain na itumike kwa ile ambayo inatakana kutumika. Alafu kwa vile tuna employ staff, lazima wakuwe motivated, wafurahia wakikuja asubuhi kwa kazi. So also we deal with that. We strengthen institutional capacity. What I mean there is that tuna ajiri wafanyakazi kuhusika na ile ambayo inatakika kwa kila stationi. And of most important, we increase public confidence. And one of the things we are doing right now is we are doing public consultation so that pia nyinyi mkuwe na imani na Judicial Service Commission. Nikienda sasa kwa bajeti, ni vile tumeset budget yetu inaitwa zero-based budget. Na zero-based budget kwa kifupi ni kuwa tuna set depending on what we require. Hatusemi tu unataka tu pesa hivi, hapana. Tunasema kuwa mnataka kufanya kazi ABC, basi tuna set hiyo budget kwa vile ambazo inatakikana. Na tukiset budget yetu lazima tukue na accountability. Mmesikia Deputy Governor amesema mambo ya accountability, County Commissioner amesema mambo ya accountability. So in brief, how do we do that? Tumeweka systems in place to ensure that we are accountable to the public. Kwa JSC itself, they have committees. One is a finance committee, the next one is the audit committee, na tuna ile ambayo inaitwa governance and risk management committees. Hizi committees are very important in ensuring that ile pesa ambayo judiciary na JSC wamepewa ni kuwa wanaitumia kulingana na vile walikuwa wamepanga. Of most important, we have to have our budget approved. Hizo budget pia huwa zinakuwa monitored kila baada ya miezi 3, na Beatrice hajawaambia kuwa huwa anakuja kwa committee ya imetumika aje. Now, we also propose what we call risk management strategies. Na hizi ni zile strategies ambazo zina make sure kuwa hakuna leakage kwa pesa ambazo judiciary na JSC wamepewa. Na kama leakage inapatikana, ofisa yoyote ambayo amekuwa highlighted, then action is taken against that particular staff or judicial officers. Based on last year's, we did also the same thing we are doing here, public engagement. Na tulipata what they call feedback from the public. Na pia ukipewa feedback, si lazima you act on that feedback. Now, I can assure you that Judicial Service Commission acted on the feedback that were given last year. One of the things walisema kuwa hakuna judges wa kutosha, na magistrates wa kutosha, na staff wa kutosha. I'm sure even here it will be raised. Presiding judge amesema hiyo. Lakini last year walisema, mahali tulienda walisema hivyo. And based on that, 27 judges were recruited. And they were sworn in by His Excellency the President. 146 judicial officers, au ni magistrates na adjudicators walikuwa employed. And I'm sure mmeona hapa Kisii pia kuna magistrates wapya walikuja, sio? Alafu pia staff 433 walikuwa recruited na wakatumwa kwa court zote nchini. So hiyo ni kitu moja tulifanya. Reduction of case backlog. Again, hiyo imekuwa addressed by the commission, but it's still been addressed because as we build more cases, you notice also litigation also increases. But what we do, tunafanya, we have case measures ambazo tumeweka in place, na pia tuna develop our judges and judicial officers through training to be able to handle especially new things that are coming up. Mmesikia mambo za mobile code, not mobile code, mobile SIM swapping, mmesikia hivyo? Hata tumepita mahali inaitwa Mulot, nikakumbuka watu wamesema hapo ndo hizi mambo huwa zinafanyika. Lakini pia sisi kama judiciary tuna train our judges and judicial officers to be aware of what is happening. AJS, mmesikia pia AJS ina improve. Again, based on the feedback we got, we are also putting into place measures to ensure that the commission supports the AJS. Now, I think I met the honorable gentleman, the one who deals with AJS in this particular area. So the commission is actually putting in place to ensure that AJS is improving. Greening of judiciaries. Again, we want to ensure that judiciary is green. Na tuna support judiciary in terms of setting up what we call solar. Naona jua iko hapa sasa, tungekuwa na solar hapa, ingekuwa ina tap hapo, alafu inakata bili ya stima. Now, I'll quickly go through what we've achieved in the last 3 years as a Judicial Service Commission. One, tume enhance human capacity, kumaanisha kuwa tume recommend nomination of judges for appointment. Tume recruit judicial officers, tume recruit judicial staff. Ukikumbuka nilikuwa nimesema one of the things we did previously. The other thing is to ensure that we provide quality, effective and efficient service. Kuna promotion ya judicial officers na staff ilifanyika. na pia their terms of service ika increase kidogo. At least walipata kapesa mfukoni, lakini pia tax pia inachukua kidogo, but that's part of life. What else have we done? The petitions that the commission has received, they received 221 petitions against judges and 119 complaints. Out of that, 2 petitions were forwarded to the president for appointment of tribunal. But kuzuia hizo zote pia, we sensitize our staff on the Judicial Service Code of Conduct and Ethics to ensure that they're also privy to what is happening. Now, again, key achievement is only quickly infrastructure development, access to justice, which is a key thing. Na hiyo tumefanya through ensuring that at least our budget is fit for purpose, and deployment of ICT. I'm sure mmeona siku hizi kwa koti kila kitu ni ICT. Ukitaka kulipa pesa unalipa through M-Pesa na unapewa ICT, or rather unapewa receipt, and also the cases are filed through CTS. So we want to, again, to continue improving on that. The other area is on policy development. Every organization is supported by policies that are developed to ensure that whatever that organization is delivering is actually based on what it's supposed to do. So we have various policies that we've developed, and all this is listed in our website. I wouldn't want to go through them. But of most important also, we train our judges and judicial officers to ensure that they deliver effective, efficient, and speedy service to the litigants. Sasa nitaenda kwa mambo ya pesa. Kuna mtu alisema wale hawakuenda shule, au rather wale walienda shule lakini hawakupita hesabu. Nitawasaidia hapa sasa. Mimi nilipita lakini nikapita sana. So nitawasaidia in a very simple terms. Miaka 3 ilipita, 2021-2022 tulipewa budget ya 618. Ikapanda kidogo the next financial year, tukapata 887 million. Alafu mwaka jana ikapanda kidogo to 896. Now, tulifanya nini na hiyo pesa? The last 21-22 we spent 577 million against 618. 2022-23 834 against 887, and 23-24 881 against 896. Roughly over 90% yele pesa ambayo tulipewa tulitumia. Kuna reason haiko kwa 100%, ni kwa vile saa zingine hatupati pesa haraka kutoka kwa treasury, na by the time the financial year ina end hatutakuwa tumepata hiyo pesa, but in financial terms you have to report exactly what you receive and what you spent. Hizo tu ni graph kuonyesha ile pesa tulipewa inapelekana na ile pesa ambayo tumetumika. Now, what are we proposing in this in the next financial year, that is 25-26? Just for information, the government financial year starts 1st of July. So hii ni kuanzia mwaka ujao tarehe 1 July 2025 up to June 30th of June 2026. Now, remember I talked about you have to have priority areas that you want to spend your money on. Niliongelesha kuhusu zero-based budgeting. So tulisema kuwa kama Judicial Service Commission tunataka kufanya nini ndio tuweze ku-budget kwa hiyo pesa. Tunataka kurecruit judges 20, magistrates not 50, yes, alafu staff 500. Tunataka pia kureview policies ambazo tuko nazo so that we can be able to enhance the service provision. Tunataka pia izile complaints ambazo zimeletwa against our judges and judicial officers, we want to speed them up so that warudi kotini ama other actions are taken against them. And then we also want to build capacity for our commissioners, judges, magistrates. Kusema capacity ni kuwa tunataka pia, ingawa hata wamemaliza shule, pia wanatakana kuwa na watu tunasema sio shule ya gumbaru, lakini nile shule ukishamaliza shule bado unaendelea kusoma ndo ili uweze kujua what is happening. So we want to continue doing that. And also, one of the key things that tunataka kufanya ni kuendelesha stakeholders engagement. Tunataka hawa commissioners mkuwa mnawaona si ati siku moja kwa mwaka, lakini wakuwa wanakuja kwa stesheni, so that nyinyi kama wenye Kisii mnaweza kuwa mna meet the commissioners as often as possible. That way then even it gives them further information on how they can be able to proceed with the decisions they make. So because we have those priority areas, what are we proposing as the commissioner? As a commission, tuko na wafanyakazi pia kwa commission. Kuna marupurupu zao wanatakana kulipwa, so tulikuwa tumeestimate 217 million, na again tukarevise hiyo wakati tulikuwa tunaongea na treasury, ikakuwa wakubadilisha hiyo. Naongea sasa hii mwaka kwanza before niende mwaka wa ujao. Tulikuwa tumepewa pesa ya 685 on operation and maintenance. Hii ni ambayo sasa tunaweza kununua makaratasi, tunaweza kufanya kitu ambazo zinasaidia kotini kuendelea. So for us we had that. But then, as you all are aware, during the budget cuts, we got a budget cut of about 27%, about 243 million. So hiyo pesa ikapunguka. Now because of that, it also hinders us in terms of delivering what you're supposed to deliver. But what we have, we try and endeavor to deliver on our mandate. So hii mwaka tulikuwa tumepewa 902, lakini sasa tuko na 660, na hapa ndio sasa kama commission pia tunakuja kwenyu muongeleshe wabunge wenyu. Now, the following year, what are we proposing? On compensation of employees, hizo sasa ni marupurupu za wafanyakazi, 314 million. Na pia tulikuwa tunataka 1.6 billion ili tuwezeshe kazi za commission ziendelee. Lakini sasa vile tumeambiwa ni kuwa marupurupu za employees hiyo tumepata, asanteni. Lakini sasa operations ndo wamekata by more than 3/4. So instead of getting 1.6, tumeambiwa tutapata 506 million, giving us a deficit of 1.1. So in total, our budget requirement was 1.9 billion. Na tumepata only about 821 million. I'm sure the commissioners, when they address you, they'll also urge you to see how you can engage your local MP to support us in terms of getting at least, if not more than 3/4, something close to what we are asking. Hiyo again, what tunapenda, unajua kwa hesabu pia ukiweka figures, si watu wataelewa vizuri. So mkiona ile figure imeenda juu kabisa, ni ile tulikuwa tunataka, alafu ile iko chini, ni ile tumambiwa tutapata. But as we say, we are all optimistic. We see what will happen as we go forward. Challenges and recommendation, my colleague Beatrice already mentioned. One, insufficient fund, inadequate physical infrastructure, staffing levels are down, low level of awareness of the commission's mandate, and I'm sure the commissioners are now taking that up in terms of being visible. Kuna delay in enactment of legislation proposed by the commission. Now this now goes to parliament, or may delay kidogo, but as they'll do public engagement, this possibly will be addressed. Recommendations, same. We hope tutapata pesa mingi, tutafuata pia legal reforms, tutafanya public awareness, vile tunafanya saizi. Na pia tukifanya public awareness, mnaona watu wa picha. Sasa zile picha wamepiga ndo hizo hapo. Hii ni kuonyesha tu kazi ambayo commission huwa inafanya, na there is documentary evidence apart from what I've just presented. The first big picture you're seeing there, that is where sasa judges na judicial officers wameenda training. Kuna picha zingine hapo mbili ambayo commissioners walikuwa nafanya engagement pia na members of parliament. Hiyo ni training. Yeah, sasa hapa mkiona walikuwa na the former deputy president, for the fact that yeye ndo alikuwa anashughulikia all the subcommittees ya cabinet. So they had engagement na cabinet. They also had engagement with a committee ya JLAG ya parliament kuelezea kuwa mambo za judiciary. And then they also meet the heads of station na pia wanafuatilia zile mjengo ambazo pia judiciary inafanya, na kuna picha ndogo hapo wanaonyesha kuwa walienda kwa one of the courts just to ensure that what Beatrice has put kwa karatasi that wanajenga court actually exists. So they do that, and that's what we call the monitoring. And then hapo sasa ndo mali JC offices iko kwa city ya Nairobi, building inaitwa CBK Pension Towers, iko tu karibu na inaitwa Harambee Avenue. It's one of the tallest building. Ukienda tu pale inaitwa Uhuru Gardens, ukiangalia tu utaona vile picha imepigwa hapo hivyo. Na kwa hayo machache nawashukuru sana. Ningesema goodbye in Kisii, lakini I'm still here, so we'll engage. Thank you very much and do have a good morning.
Asante sana. Sia maneno tumeyaelewa vizuri. Najua wanasema naye muntu gokolega asio tali kora tumoka na bora nyoro mutu ko benkara. Yani nasema ya kwamba Chuck who reads without a play sometimes is a head can go and clockwise. So that which I'm asking is that can we just stand shortly because we are moving to the next level. Najua ni wazee wako hapa. Ama namna gani? Tusimame tu na kujinyooza kidogo. If there is space, lakini usiwanguke mwenzako. Wewe ndio muziki niliyoko. Yani ndio kusema music is medicine. Now at least we can sit. We can sit. I was almost asking you to dance, lakini nikaona space you are a bit squeezed. Tungekuwa kwa maana mahali wanaita dance hall, tunge dance kidogo. So kuko na vitu ambao nataka tusemesane kwa ajili ya kufanya nao the plenary. Hapa ni maswali ama ni kuongeza ama ni kusema. Hiyo yote inakubalika. So katika hali hiyo tusije kupoteza muda. Ukipewa chance hakuna haja ya kuanza. That is a request I'm making from the commissioners, the judges who are seated here and the judicial officers. Hakuna haja ya kuanza hiyo protocol. Wewe simama na kusema maneno. Si maoni ndio wanataka. Sasa tukianza protocol unamaliza 1 minute. Na hiyo minute ungekuwa umeitumia kikamilifu. So that is what we are going to do. And I'm just going to give you a chance to say, you react to that which has been said. That which is not captured, it is upon you to give them, because this is the feedback which they require from this public participation. Ekibata getena mangana inu kuja asebali. Mbakwa netia yabo. Na ndundo kukwana right. Okay. Judge, can I start with the hosting judge? Unajua si aseme maneno. Yes.
Wanasema mtu wa nyumbani anatunzwa kwanza. So let me go first. As a member of the judiciary and also as the presiding judge here, allow me just to give my reaction to what has been presented to us. First of all, what I see is that the judiciary has a huge deficit. Huge. Yani ile pesa inapeanwa kwa judiciary ni ndogo sana. Haiwezi kutosha kwa idara hii kufanya kazi ambayo imepewa na wananchi. And my first proposal is that in the constitution, for example, the money to the counties is allocated there at 15% of the budget, and there is even an equalization fund of 1.5%. I do not think that the executive and parliament can be trusted to allocate sufficient funds to the judiciary. na ndio mnapata saa zingine vile Commissioner Olwande amesema, wananchi mnaambiwa sasa judiciary imetoa uamuzi fulani, situkate pesa kwao, na mnashangilia. Lakini sasa pesa ya mahakama ikikatwa, wewe ukiwa na kesi utaenda wapi? Na ndio hiyo mahakama unategemea isuluhishe tatizo ambalo unaweza kuwa nayo na jirani ama mwingine. So it is extremely important that the judiciary gets a location that is fixed. I would propose a percentage that is put in law rather than leaving it to the discretion of the executive and parliament. I would think that what we are asking for, which is about 40 billion, is, in my opinion, just above 1% of the current budget. So why don't we put in law that judiciary gets at least 1.5% of the budget? In the same way we have said the county gets 15% and equalization fund of 1.5%. Why not put in law so that we are not at the mercy of politicians in getting money? We just say 1.5% of the budget goes to the judiciary. That would be my proposal. Of course, you cannot have access to justice if you do not have infrastructure, and you cannot have infrastructure if your development budget has been cut or is less by 82%. Wacha nitumie hii example na wamama msikasirike. Ninajua hata nyinyi wakati mwingine mnashikilia nyumba, lakini tuseme tu nyumba ya mzee, nyumba inashikiliwa na mzee. Kwa example yangu, sawa? Tumeelewana? Ni kama mzee kupea mama shilingi 20 kutoka kwa yani mama anasema nipatie 100 ndio niweze kulisha watoto na wewe pia ukikuja nikutafutie nyama. Lakini mzee anampatia shilingi 20 na anategemea kila wakati atapata chakula, watoto wamelishwa. Haitawezekana, si kweli? Kama pesa ipeanwe ya kutosha hata ya kupeana ya kwa boma tu, sasa boma itakaa namna gani? So I would development budget of less than 20%. You cannot access justice if there's no building, there's no court infrastructure. I have seen also there is a deficit in recurrent. You cannot recruit staff. If you don't have staff, you cannot have adjudicators to decide cases. You cannot have money for equipment. So there is a cry really for us to be protected in law so that the money is sufficient. That's my first contribution. My second contribution is that it is clear that the judiciary is doing what the public expects it to do. There's a court clearance rate of 99%. Ninasema mahakama inafanya ile kazi mumeipatia. Kwa sababu kama kesi inakuja 100 na 99 inakuisha kwa mwaka, sio ni kazi imefanyika? So judiciary is actually doing its work despite being underfunded. So it needs to be funded. Unajua kuna ule mnaweza sema hata huyu nikipatia pesa ni kutupa tu, ni bure. Lakini kupea pesa kwa judiciary sio kutupa, kwa sababu inafanya kazi yake ambayo imepewa na wananchi. So kama hapa Kisii, we need to establish more courts in this region. Tunahitaji koti zaidi hapa. Tumesema kesi zote haziwezi kufanywa mahakamani. Na ndio tuko na AJS, Alternative Justice System, na tuko na mediation. Kama hatupeani pesa kwa AJS na hatupeani pesa kwa mediation, hakuna vile tunaweza sema tuna promote AJS na mediation na hatujapea pesa pale. Sasa tutaiendeleza namna gani? Kama hapa Kisii, pesa peke yake ya kutrain tu adjudicators AJS imekosa. Sasa tuta roll out AJS namna gani kama hatupeani pesa kwa hiyo? Na pia pesa ya pro bono services. Mawakili wanapeana huduma zao kwa serikali na pesa inapungua, haitoshi ya kuwalipa. Sasa watakujaje kotini kutetea wananchi? So we need more allocation on recurrent. It has been said we need more staff. We must hire more staff. we must protect our staff. And I think protection of our staff starts with providing our judicial officers and judges with residencies. Mimi sioni ni sawa kwa magistrate anakuja town ya Kisii na anaanza kutafuta nyumba. Na anaanza kutafuta nyumba kwa wale ambayo wanakuwa na kesi kotini. Mimi kwa maoni yangu haifai. Magistrate ama judge anatakana apewe nyumba na serikali. Kama mtu magistrate anapokuwa posted Lodwar, anaenda kwa nyumba ambayo imepewa kwa judiciary. Na nafikiria Ministry of Housing na Judiciary lazima wafanye kazi pamoja ndio kila magistrate awe na security kwa nyumba. Awe na nyumba ambayo iko secure na asiwe pia unajua pia mtu anaishi kwa flat ambayo iko na watu 100 na hao watu 100 wako na kesi kotini. Si mnaona kuna tashwishi kidogo? Na mimi kwa maoni yangu magistrate apewe nyumba na serikali, judge apewe nyumba na serikali. Na ninafurahia kusikia kwamba kuna nyumba 2 imejengwa Wanguru na Marsabit. Lakini sasa nyumba 2 tu. Na wale judges wengine dunia mzima ya Kenya watakaa wapi? Kwa hivyo mimi nafikiria allocation ipewe ya kufaa for purposes of residences of magistrates and judges. Of course, allocation for each court must be given, inatosha. Hata hapa Kisii naona tu kuna vitu hapa na pale haijaingiana kwa sababu pesa hakuna, imepungua. Ile pesa kidogo imekuja imefanya kazi lakini haitoshi. Na kwa hayo ndio maoni yangu na maoni ya koti ya Kisii. Asante.
Asante sana judge. Sio maoni ni mazuri hayo. Hata amesema AJS. By the way, we have been having false starts for the last now 1 year. Tunasema tunaanza pesa inakosekana. Mwingine anakuja anatuambia hii nitawasaidia. Huyo naye tukifika hiyo siku anabururuka. One binde imogwete mbigendere. Tekunyale kataka bi. Ponoroje mediation, court annexed mediation ati wanakaa chini ya miti. Hapo nje, hapo ati hiyo ndio ofisi ya mediation. Hiyo mnaona inatosha hiyo ofisi kweli? Sasa naendelea kupeana maoni. Sasa ni wakati wa maoni. Nimeona the mediation chair may raise the hand. That is Dr. John Damascus. It is your time.
As already said, all the protocols observed. My name is Dr. John Kingoina. There is that other name, Damascus, which I love most.
As you proceed, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
I support the presiding judge's recommendation on finances to judiciary. And I support it because it is JSC that knows how much they need and why. So I don't think we can talk that, but we can talk to our area MPs. 2, I want to tell you that mediation is strictly supposed to be private and confidential. But once we have our mediation sessions under that tent, quite a number of litigants are out there. They are listening to what is going on. Can we call that one mediation? So my plea is that if judiciary can afford, with those small resources they have, get us about 2 or 3 more small tents, we can fix them anywhere within the compound. And I'm also happy with the county government through the speech given by His Excellency, the governor, that they are going to support mediation. So ours now, through judiciary, is that we make a follow-up led by Honorable Nyanza and see if we can get somewhere where we can handle mediation processes. The last one is that mediators have handled quite a number of mediations, especially here in Kisii. And last time we were given a trophy for being one of the best performing regions in mediation. So I'm asking, requesting the mediators not to stop handling mediations, because we have not been paid for the last 1.5 years. And imagine some travel from here to Kisumu to Migori, and that needs money. If judiciary can get any small amount that they have within their reach, please start paying the mediators to give them morale. Otherwise, I thank you very much, and I think I've not taken more time.
No, you are within time. And nataka kushukuru Dr. John Damascus. I usually play games with him. I say any route to Damascus. So tunashukuru, na ni kweli, by the way, they have not been paid for the last 1.5 years. And we have been asking for these monies, they are not forthcoming. Lakini kwa imani tunasema itakuja siku moja. So I think the ones who are in charge in that docket, they understand. I'm seeing what we're thinking very hard. So I think he should be doing something before the end of the year. I saw also John Matundura, the chair, AJS.
Asante kwa nafasi. Mimi kwa majina ni James Matundura Haraka. Ni mwenyekiti wa Abagusi Council of Elders. Sasa nataka nikubaliane kwanza kwa wale walipanga kuleta mkutano huu sehemu hii ya Kisii. Nafikiri kwa kufikiria yangu walifikiria sana na walifikiria vizuri kuileta upande huu. Ya pili, nataka ku-appreciate services given in Kisii law courts. Hiyo nasema wazi. Vile wanatenda kazi yao, vile wana interact na sisi mediators na wengine, ni njia tunapenda. Ya tatu, katika basic needs of anybody, any of you. Kwanza, chakula unaambiwa kwenda lima, utapata chakula. Nguo unaambiwa tafuta njia yako, utapata hiyo nguo unataka. Lakini kuna ofisi moja katika dunia hii ya Kenya inatushughulikia ikiwa mtu amenikosea ama ameniambia kitu naona sio vile ama ametenda kitu mbaya kwa vitu yangu properties, na hiyo ofisi ni ya Judiciary. Ikiwa hii ndio ofisi peke yake inashughulikia haya na inakosefu wa pesa, itakuwaje tuanze kufuruta nyuma? Tutafuruta mbele, tutasupport, kwa sababu kama sasa kuna mambo mazuri sana yamesemwa na nyinyi upande huo. Tunahitaji more churches. Kuna kesi hapa in October. Ilikuwa referred mpaka mwezi wa pili next year. Na unajua siku ile ililetwa hapa ndio moto ilikuwa inawaka huko nyumbani. Na unaiarisha miezi hiyo sijui 5-6. Kwa sababu gani? We don't have enough churches. When I was even asking what is happening here, I was told churches wengine wameenda umapei, wengine wasijui nini. Tunahitaji more churches. I wanted to explain that one. Na hata judicial officers down the ladder tunahitaji, kwa sababu ni kazi yetu itafanywa vizuri. Ni kazi yetu itakuwa rahisi. Kitu kama huyu chairman wa mediation amesema, ni kweli hawajalipo all this time and they travel a lot. Hata traveling from home to this place means money. So itakuwaje tuseme hiyo pesa isiongezwe? Tutasema iongezwe, ndio njia pekee itafanya hii kazi kuwa rahisi. Kwa sababu nilikuwa nasikia mnasema the mediation decongest cases up to about 85%. Sasa mnafurahia 85 alafu kulipa hakuna. Hiyo 85 itoke wapi? Si inahitaji mengine. Kitu ya karibu kumalizia, tunahitaji more courts in Kisii. na Kisii County tunahitaji 3 kwanza, na hii tumesema na hatutawacha kusema kwa sababu haijafanyika. Huko vile mlitaja huko Masimba Gesusu, mkataja Marani, lakini hamkutaja Nyamache kwa sababu nilikuwa nataka naye itajwe. Hapo tunahitaji more codes kurahisisha kazi yetu. Na ya kumaliza, kweli tunahitaji pesa for training. Sasa ikiwa nyinyi principal mlisoma miaka ile mingi, na sisi hata masomo ya siku moja one day, ili tufanye hii kazi mnafurahia, mnashindwa. Hiyo pesa wacha iongezwe na msimama imara iongezwe. Sichukui hata tuende kupersuade some other people. Ni sisi. Kwa nini basi tulikuja hapa? Ni sisi tufurute hii kitu mbele ili kazi yetu ifanye vizuri. Kwa hivyo HAS, mediation, ADR, all these things inahitaji a lot of training, inahitaji mambo mingi hapo ili nchi yetu ipate kuendelea. Sitapita hapo. Iko kitu ya mwisho. Sijui kama itakukasirisha.
Sema nimekupea. Wewe ni German. Sasa nimekuongeza
hapo. Mimi nataka mishahara ya watu ya kuanzia yule mkubwa alienda kuanzia huko ya Judicial Service kuelekea chini mpaka hapa Kisii. Mishahara yao iwe reviewed. Ku avoid temptations
za dunia hii.
Ya dunia hii. Hiyo kitu waje iongeze. Tuwaje hii mjeso ngine. So hiyo ndio yangu, ni mengi lakini principal najua is strict. Hataki nienda sana lakini nashukuru kwa kutupatia nafasi.
Asante sana. Kia nimesema vizuri. Nimeona mkono pale. One of the mediators, Mr. Mochoge.
Thank you so very much, sir. All protocol observed. I wouldn't wish to repeat what has been said. My name is Mochoge Zephaniah. I'm a Rotarian, as much as I do practice mediation in our courts. I want to ride on what has been spoken already, but allow me to emphasize the fact that in our midst, it is very easy to observe political representation. I don't know why and how this happened, but I would plead with the organizers next time. Kindly invite as many politicians as possible. We do attend their meetings, they are not in our meeting. I would raise an issue with legislation that was spoken earlier. We require to have legislation of mediators, for example, being able to plow back or settle matters, plowing back 35 billion Kenyan shillings. But again, in the same sentence or paragraph, mediators have not been paid. It is a sad story. It is not easy to explain to anybody. I would plead with all of us to ask our political class to legislate matters law. It is in the presence of peace that then development and even the political energy can thrive. So I want to thank you because of this arrangement. And as a member, a volunteer of the Institute of Economics and Peace, headquartered in Sydney, we also talk about free flow of information. And I want to thank you for presenting this forum, because then we are able to share the information that you have, including the figures that we have read. It gives us hope. But again, we are unable to move to talk about mediation, AJS, and all these other practices to our people. The rest of us seated under this tent perhaps have that advantage of moving forward. How about the big or the chunk of our population back in the village? Do they know where their rights can be traced in case of a challenge? That takes me back to the earlier speakers who have said we need to train, we need to do advocacy. We cannot do advocacy without money. And I'm aware that this money is there for all of us. Because I don't want to exhaust my 2 minutes, I want to donate my minutes. Allow me to thank you all for attending and ask each one of us to consider mediation. Kindly let us talk mediation in church, let us talk mediation in our spaces wherever they are. Mediation is the last language that we can speak, which can bring about peace. Thank you so very much, and welcome to Kisii, all of you.
Asante sana. I'm seeing that you are a stickler to time, and that is what we do when we do this mediation. And I'm happy to hear from mediation. Now I want also to give a chance to another one. But I want equally to let my brother Mochoge know, who's one of the mediators and very vibrant, that all the politicians were invited. Ngakiteja bantu ba tebeti kuna inchuba bantu bakanga ko chapaka bakachikulikia bande street baliyo bokima. Yes, so that is what is happening. In other words, they were invited, but they have decided to do that which they know best. Meona mwenzangu hapa ameinua mkono. I'm just giving chance. Now, if it happens you have a memo, you better surrender that if you have it. To us here, it will be better for record.
Yes. I greet you all. First of all, I want to add something small which was spoken by our church here about accommodation of our churches. Sincerely speaking, it is not fair where you can find a judge, all I said is living in my apartment. Then thereafter, you find where I have a case and I present before him. And I practically says, just do as I want, then maybe you will not pay me rent for the next 1 year. As a human being, because all of us, we are the human beings, as a judge, I will go ahead and do as the apartment owner, as Chafti says. So I am pleading with the government of Kenya to the office of the president, and I am hoping my area MP, who is also chief whip in National Assembly, let them look the housing to the housing levy, which the government is taking from Kenyans, so that they can give churches the first priorities, so that they can find a better place to give services to Kenyans. Number two, the Judicial Service Commission, Kenyans, the last hope of the Kenyans is based on our courts. When a Kenyan is oppressed from elsewhere, he believes that when I will go in court, I will find my justice, because that is the only place which you can get your justice. Then you find, because of lack of financial, you get a charge, because all of us, you are human beings, and you can be easily get attempted in these earthly resources. You find where, because churches, unajua church mwenyewe anapiga hesabu yake, anaona ya kwamba pia mimi ni binadamu nahitaji pesa. So anaenda kinyume na mapenzi ya sheria, anapatia ule mtu, maana anaangalia anasema huyu akona pesa na huyu afanye nini? Ana pesa. At the end of the day, huyu mwenye ana pesa ndiye alikuwa anastahili kupata haki, kwa sababu hakuwa na pesa. Huyu mwenye alikuwa na pesa anafanya nini? Anapata haki. So I am pleading with the government, let them give out the money which are equal, yenye inaweza saidia our Judicial Service Commission sipatiane services kwa wananchi ambazo zinaweza saidia to reduce corruption cases, so that at the end of the day, kila mwananchi afili ya kwamba I'm living in a better Kenya. Are we together? So inaamini ya kwamba serikali kishasikia hilo itatusaidia ili cases nyingi zikaweze kutatuliwa kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Then lastly, as I'm finishing, sometimes I also to say something to any church or ministry who is listening to me. Sometimes there is a certain church ruling you made, mwananchi akisikiza vizuri, she or he starts questioning himself, are you really talking professionally, ama unafanya vitu kienyeji? Sometimes hata wewe unaweza toa uamuzi fulani, mwananchi akisikia anajiuliza maswali yenye hata hawezi pata majibu. Something which you are supposed to do according to the law, hata mwenyewe afili ya kwamba koti imetufanyia haki, wewe na akili zako na umekaa darasani kwa miaka nenda rudi, you go against the will of Kenyans. To an extent, you make Kenyans to lose hope in our courts. So pia na sisi tujiondolee gharama ndogo ndogo ili idara yetu ikaweze kuonekana kuwa safi. Wakati mwananchi anakuja mbele yako akiwa na tumaini ya kwamba anaenda kupata haki na yeye ajisikie kama Mkenya wa kawaida. Thank you and may God bless you.
Asante sana. Mnasemaje kwa mwananchi huyu amesema maneno? Si amesema maneno mazuri? Yeah. Na ni kweli nataka kusema ya kwamba jana tulikuwa huko prison na wao walikuwa wameuliza jambo huyu amesema. Last adjournment. Akikuja tena last adjournment. Tena last adjournment. Hata wanashindwa hii last adjournment inamaanisha nini? Hapo ndio niliwapea jibu. Unajua last adjournment in court, that is a legal term. Hiyo ni msamiati wa kisheria. Sio ule unaenda kusoma kwa dictionary hapo unapata ni last adjournment inamaanisha last. So hapo na wewe ukisoma na wewe usisome na macho ya ordinary. Unasoma na macho ya nda. Haya basi. Tuende mbele. Nani yule anataka? Yes, give him a mic.
Na ukipewa nafasi sema jina lako.
Na 2 minutes ndio nimepeana nyingi kabisa.
Okay, I'm Oyaro Wycliffe, CEO Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kisii County Chapter. Standing here to represent the business community. I have 2 issues. Number 1 is to echo the sentiments of our presiding judge. Let this be in law. Now that you can't depend on the masses of a given authority, given people, if you go against them, their wish, they might be thrust your budget. So let it be in law. Number 2, within your ranks, within the budget, because my members, even though we have a municipal court, the mass, which is my members' business community, don't know where to start and where to end in case of a dispute. Within your ranks, all, can you get something small within the budget and accord it to somebody so that we are attached to that somebody for kind of capacity building, so that we know this person is within us, is going to take us through the legal procedures. In case of a dispute, we know somebody to guide us on the way forward. Otherwise, thank you. I support the add of that budget.
Asante sana, maoni mazuri. Nimeona kuko na huyo mzee. Abewe chance naye aseme.
Thank you. My name is Patrick Nyagosia, the chair of the County Education Board and also mediator. Presiding Judge and the Judiciary, thank you for asking us to intervene for you to get more money. But I wonder how we shall do it, because you have heard that everything is legislated and we expect you to be given the money that you need for your operations. And this accusation that we clap to the politicians, I don't think we do. We don't even ask them to cut the budget. It is a syndrome in this country that even when you are abused, you clap. And I remember with tremendous respect the late President Moi, when he looked at his deputy and said, when I look back, I don't see any one of you to take after me. They clapped. So it looks like it is a systemic problem. But let us do 2 things clear. Money is not given to very essential services in society. And I will cite a few: education, health, and the judiciary. Because I consider justice to be urgent, and all of us know that there are some things that are important and urgent, others are not important and urgent, others are important and urgent. But I think education, health, justice are very urgent and very important. So we need more money without asking people too much. I want to emphasize on mediation that if we were able to plow back 2.9 billion in Kisii alone, then that money, in all honesty and fairness, should come back to mediation to help clear this backlog so that we can move faster. And I was wondering, if I heard you well, you said there is a thin difference between the judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission. I don't know then whether your activities overlap. Is there a possibility that you can avoid overlapping between the Judicial Service Commission and the judiciary? Maybe that can release more money back to the operations of the judiciary. Thank you.
Asante sana. Naona madamu hapa for purposes of gender balancing.
I salute as well. My name is Biaki Davin. I'm the Church Chapter Kisii. Mine is about pro bono briefs. I know my chair, Southwest branch has raised the same, but to the extent that advocates have not been paid the fees for pro bono services for a while. But mine will be about review of the amount that is being paid for a pro bono file to be handled. The current rate is at 30,000 per matter. And when you look at the nitty-gritties that are surrounding the issue, that amount is really bigger, and to some extent I can call it's a disrespect to an advocate, because when you've been instructed to represent that accused person, the presumption of the law is that the accused person is the instructing client. So your logic has it that you need to visit the said accused person in prison and have instructions shared with them. I've had opportunities of visiting our prisons around, and the feedbacks, even yesterday we were there, and the feedbacks are that advocates don't visit physically. They just see them online, virtually, during the hearing or the mentions. The logic behind this is because the 30,000, if you do the math, we might not be good in math, but when we are calculating our fees, imagine you are fueling your car or maybe using other means to prisons and spending hours there versus the 30,000 versus the time taken to finish that matter is not logical. So we are really requesting that peg some respect to advocates and review that fee so that it's a vital part of justice delivery, that advocates are treated well so that we can deliver in that sector. I've also watched an advocate lose a pro bono case in Kisumu. We were virtual, and an accused person said that he has never seen the advocate. So was asking that I just see the advocate online. I've never met the advocate, and that brief was taken away right before my eyes, and it was like, how do I travel from Kisii, miles away from Kisii to Kisumu, just to meet an accused person and get paid 30,000, which again doesn't come just at the right time. For now, we have been like over a year, and we have not been paid. So kindly look into that, and may God bless.
Asante sana. That is the view I want to believe from the advocates, isn't it? Yes, the secretary. We are almost coming to an end.
Yes, I also want to add something. On that note, I think the National Legal Aid Service should be actualized, and I think it was mentioned, and to help curb this problem, because we cannot have a law which is not implemented. So if we have the National Legal Aid Service Act being actualized, we have the board in place, we have the fund in place, so that we can even push some of these expenses to the right owners, so that iende huko na tusikakue na shida katika hiyo sekta. Nimeangalia I think sasa ni sisi kama sana sisi Gen Z tuende tusalimie wabunge wetu, tuwatumie salamu, tuwaambie kwamba tusiguse mlima ya judiciary. ikifika katika pesa ya judiciary wasifanye nini, waziguse, kwa sababu it is going to affect the service. Kama niliona inaenda ku affect automation of services, kwa sababu ya going technology. Sasa sahi judiciary ni technological, I don't know how I will put it. Sasa kama tunakata hiyo pesa, naona automation inakuwa affected. Sana sana naona unaenda kufile vitu online, sometimes unapata system down, iko chini, so unashangaa ufanye nini. So I think tuende tuwasalimie, tuwaambie judiciary hiyo maneno isifanye nini, isiguswe. Niliona pia koto para hizi koti zilifaa kujengwa, sasa hazitajengwa. Tuko na shamba huko, sijui kama commissioners waliona hiyo shamba tulipewa hapa na county government, imelala hapo. Sasa itajengwa lini? Tuko na koti ya Manga, hii region yetu ya Manga ya Borabu haina judicial officers. Sasa tutafanya namna gani? Tuko na hii region tena tuko na koti nyingine inaitwa Kendu Bay, hiyo koti pia haina judicial officer. Sasa tutafanya namna gani? Hapa Kisii we used to have 2 judges of the high court, saa hii tuko na mmoja. Sasa hiyo deficit nani atakava hiyo maneno? Huko court of appeal Kisumu saa hii wanasikiza apili za 5 years ago, mata inakuwa certified agent, lakini one year down the line your appeal haijasikizwa though it's been certified agent. Sasa your counterparts at Kisumu Court of Appeal wanasumbuka sana. Commissioner Olwande, the magistrates here, your colleagues, hawana courtrooms. They are conducting hearings from the chambers. Na shida ikitokea hapo, mtu apige mwingine kofi hapo, itakuwa namna gani? So we should look at that. Hiyo funds isiguzwe. So I don't know what we are going to do, but hiyo vile jaji alisema hiyo ikue kwa sheria, hiyo maneno ya judiciary fund ikue kwa sheria, na ceiling yake iwekwe ni ngapi, tujue ni hiyo. Na hiyo ingine ya pro bono, mawakili wangu wanalalamika hapa, hiyo national legal aid service pia iangaliwe with the urgent need together with the office of the AG, hiyo maneno ikuwe implemented, tusonge mbele pamoja. Otherwise karibuni Kisii, sijui mlipeleka Gen Z wapi, alishatoka, nimwambie tukue pamoja, tuende tusalimie wale wabunge. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana. Si maneno amesema vizuri, na Gen Z wanaongea namna hiyo, na maneno yao tunayajua, hatustahili kuelezewa. Sasa kwa ajili ya muda, I'm giving only 2 chances, na naenda huko nyuma. Huko nyuma yule mzee mmoja pale na huyo madamu waseme, so that we react.
Thank you so much. All protocol observed. My name is Dr. Lista Nyamasege. I'm a mediator and a teacher, and also in the driving school sector. According to what I've seen represented here and what has been presented to us, I was wondering and asking myself, as time goes by, population is increasing, conflicts are more, our courts are more busy, and we need more manpower in the courts. But when we look at the budget allocations, it shows a decline or a continuous decrease in the allocations of the budget. And that tells me that something is wrong somewhere. And that's why I support what the presiding judge has said, that let there be a rule on what percentage of allocation is supposed to be given to our judiciary. And number 2, and the more we are having more conflicts or backlogs, we will not have a peaceful nation. So I'm recommending that the government or whoever is in charge of these allocations of budget considers the population and the need for the peace that we need in our country. Peace is equivalent to how the cases are flowing in the courts, and our communities are peaceful as more of these cases are going to be sorted out. So I'm saying that this budget allocation is far much too low, because if it is 930 million and we were requesting for 1.9, it's not even half. So I'm saying send the word to the wherever it came from, that we need an updated, we update this amount. we are not comfortable as Kisii with the amount that has been allocated to the judiciary. Thank you so much.
Asante sana, nilikuwa nimepeana huyo mzee wa kando pale.
Asante sana kwa kunipea nafasi. Mimi ni mwananchi, raia. Nilikuwa nimeona unapeana hapo mbele, nikasema na sisi lazima tuchangie kama mwananchi, kwa vile sisi ndio tunakuja hapa kutaka huduma. Nauliza swali, kama kuna representative ya government, nauliza hivi, tuko na 3 arms of government. Executive, legislative na judiciary. Kwa nini judiciary all the time inaonekana mnyonge? All the time there is complaining from Nairobi. Executive wanafurutana na judiciary. Ni kwa vile awasibi wako na njaa. Why? Hizo pesa sikipeanwa, hata akiwa mkubwa akikosa anakimbilia judiciary. Kwa nini hizo pesa sisigwe sinagawanywa equally in the 3 governments bodies? Executive, legislative na judiciary. Hiyo ni swali nimeuliza, kama kuna mtu ya serikali anijibu. Makosa mimi naruhusia judiciary. All the time mnanyanyaswa, nyinyi mnanyamaza. Amuulisi haki yenu, kwa vile hii ni kama mguu mmoja umefunjika, kasi haiwezi enda sawa sawa. Kwa nini mnapewa pesa kidogo na nyinyi ndio kimbilio ya mwananchi? Na mnakubali all the time. Why can't you go there, parliament? Na nyinyi msimame imara, muandamane, sisi tukae nyuma yenu, tuwa support. Nyinyi mnalalamika hapa, ukijanyaso years and years, nyinyi mnaonekana wanyonge, na nyinyi ndio watetezi wa wananchi. Kwa hivyo msimame imara. Jambo la mwisho, kuna kesi sisi raia tunakuja hapa mention, mtu anakuja kesi mention 7 times. Kama mimi saa hizi nimekuja mention tangu mwezi wa 8. Mpaka saa hizi mention haijawahi kutajwa. Why? Nauliza judiciary. Asante sana.
Hayo maoni ya mwananchi na mwenye nchi si ni mazuri hayo? Hayo maoni ni mazuri. Na unajua mimi sikuwa na ati napeana hapa mbele. Wacha ni sema haya maneno yajulikane vizuri. Ni mwenye ameinua mkono. Kama hujainua huko nyuma nitakupea kweli chance. Vile umeinua mkono juzi nimekupea chance. So hakuna ile ya kusema ni watu wa mbele ni watu wa nyuma, ni mkono. Sasa kuna mkono niliambiwa ambao sikuwa nimeona huko from prison. Ndiye naombea, and I think unajua hivi vitu ni lazima we at a given point we have to come to an end, isn't it? Hatuwezi kuendelea mpe tuwezi kuendelea paka eternity.
Thank you. Mimi, I want to represent our clients in prison, and I'm here to air their views the way our colleagues are also airing their views. Na wamenituma nikuje niseme hivi ya kwamba judiciary, yes, is moving fast, and unfortunately the speed at which the judiciary is moving is so fast that other criminal justice agencies cannot be able to catch up. They cannot be able to catch up to the extent that the youngest brother, who is actually prisons, finding himself at the tail end of the criminal justice system, is likely to suffer. So what my clients have told me to come and present to you is this, that as you advocate for increased budgetary allocation, kindly also don't forget the youngest brother in the criminal justice system. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, hayo maneno si ni mazuri hayo. Ndio tulikuwa tunasema tunataka kwenda sambamba. Those are stakeholders. Wasije wakaajwe nyuma. Si namna hiyo? Yes. Sasa tuseme kama judiciary imeenda paka imefika sijui Kericho. Arau prison ndio hiyo imefika hapa Konate. Unaona maneno itakuwa ngumu. So we need to go hand in hand with all the stakeholders and all that. And by the way, for this one is for judiciary budget, isn't it? Hey. So we are not mixing issues. Unajua unachapa issue moja unaendelea namna hiyo. So for now, I think the very best thing that we should do ni kuwachilia hawa nao waseme. Si ndio wamekuja kusikia maneno yenu? Waseme kama hayo maneno mumesema na lile swali ambalo limeulizwa na mwenzetu kutoka pale watalijibu jinsi gani. So who's first to go? Who's first to go? Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Nyanza. Asante sana wananchi kwa maoni yenu. We sincerely appreciate the feedback that will enrich our proposal. We are happy that you identify with our challenges, which are really challenges in service delivery to you, our clients. I want to give a chance to the honorable commissioners to speak if they have a response or something to say following the feedback from our clients. I think they can speak from where they are, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable RHC. Na nawashukuru sana for the feedback that you have given, wenye nchi wa Kisii. And you know, I was listening to all of you, and especially Mzee pale, and you know, he stopped short of saying that justice is actually a basic need. And it is true. We take justice very lightly. But when justice is compromised, no one can live in peace. And these are the things ambazo mnafikiria ni basic needs, ambazo tulisoma shule: food, shelter, and clothing. You cannot enjoy them if there's no justice. As I was sitting here, I reflected. I forgot to mention earlier that this was my first station. Nilipoingia kwa idara ya mahakama, nikaandikwa kama hakimu. Hapa Kisii ndo nilifanya kazi for the first time. Chamber yangu ilikuwa pale chini. Nilikuwa court number 5, nikapanda hadi court number 4. Nilianza court number 6, nikapanda hadi court number 4. And I remember 2007 found me here. All of us remember in our history what happened in 2007. And I remember Kisii was fairly peaceful. Moto ilikuwa inawaka huko Ugis, Kisumu, Migori, but Kisii was fairly peaceful. And I remember people would come from all those regions, and they were staying at the DC's office somewhere up here, wakingoja kusafirishwa across the rift kwenda wherever they were going to. And what I remembered, you all remember why we got there, sindio? There was no faith, there was no confidence in the judiciary at that time. And what I remember, shelter. People were not sheltering in their homes. People had to leave their homes. Walikuja kuishi hapa kwa makambi. People could not find food. We have the money, but there wasn't food. Who was going to the market na watu wanapigana? Hata mkulima kona chakula na nataka kupeleka sokoni, haezi fika kwa soko. There was no food. Children were not going to school. Nani ataenda shule kama kuna vita? No one. We could not go to hospitals because the hospitals were swamped. Kama uko na malaria, wewe unalia malaria na mtu amekuja na mkuki kwa mgongo, who will look at your malaria? Are you getting the point I'm making? It is true. Justice also is a basic need. If the justice system is compromised, none of us can enjoy any other basic need. And I think it is important that we all recognize that and give judiciary, which basically has the mandate of administration of justice, the place of pride when it comes to how we allocate our budget. We should give value to the services that the judiciary offers. Again, as I was listening here, nimeona karibu 80 or 90% of the speakers. And I'm happy to observe that a lot of them were actually members of the public. That judge ameongea vizuri. Iyo sheria lazima tuangalie. The judiciary should be given a percentage of the national budget. That's a conversation we've had. By the way, mkisema my brother there was saying kwa nini msiende bunge? Tunashinda bunge. Ni ile tu labda muoni kila siku kwa TV. Tunashinda bunge, tunaongea nao kila siku. We need this, we need this. Wananchi wamesema. But then ultimately wakikaa kwa meza, unajua katiba inasema ni wao kufanya nini? Kupanga. Na wao ndio wanapanga. So ile tunapatiwa, we can only do what we can do. Mzee here amesema kwamba sasa tulifanye nini na inataka sheria. You are very powerful. Let me tell you, the holder of the vote is a very powerful human being. Si nyinyi ndio mnaweka hao MPs bunge? Na katiba inasema nani anapitisha budget? Si ni bunge? Sasa ile mnasema hapa kwetu hakuna hospitali, hapa kwetu hakuna barabara, hapa kwetu hakuna maji ya kunywa. Do you remember to say hapa kwetu hakuna koti? Koti ya hapa haijakuwa well facilitated. Do you remember to say that? Because ile mbunge anakutengeneza manifesto yake, huwa anasema nini? Sasa anasema mambo ya services. Yes. So you, as the voter, you have the power with you to make your MP support the law that the judiciary should be given a percent. Baada ya hapa kila mtu atafute mbunge wake na amwambie kuna shida kwa judiciary and we want you to pass a law that the judiciary should be given a percentage of the national budget. We did a presentation here, but you'll remember in every organization, not only judiciary, in all arms of government, mshahara ni ile ile. Si mnajua hivyo? Mshahara ni ile ile. Mimi kama Olwande ile mshahara ni hiyo nitapata. Sa ile wanakata si mimi nitakatwa mshahara. Unajua ni nini tutakata? Mediation tunakata, tusema hatuwezi fanya. Kama kulikuwa na mobile court inasaidia kwa tunasema sasa punguza mobile court. Kama kuna mjengo, that is how it works. So wakisema wanakata budget ya judiciary ama wakinyima judiciary pesa, the loudest no should come from where? Should come from where? What a number of issues. My colleagues will also respond to some of them. I just wanted to speak generally on the issue of budget, and my colleagues will give detailed responses. But I just want to comment on some few things that I had noted, ambazo nilikuwa nafikiri are worth mentioning. I know our brothers in the LSK are not happy about the pro bono budget. First of all, the amount that is paid, and then secondly, that it delays. You need to understand, my brothers and sisters, it's all constraints. And by the way, it is not disrespectful, my sister. My sister was saying the amount is disrespectful. It is not out of disrespect. It is out of resources available. We all believe 30,000 really is very little. But we can only make do, like I said, with what we are able to get. So 30,000 is what we can afford. And even not we can't afford, because you will briefly be told by my sister, Commissioner Ngutia, we were able to get money. We have forwarded. There's AIE that has come to Kisii for the High Court pending bills on pro bono. Hatujaweza kulipa ya magistrates. And imagine it is still 30. We can't pay all the pending bills. So that already tells you how we are struggling. So I just wanted to correct that impression. It's not that we are disrespecting you. We are only trying to make do with what we have.
Nilikuwa nafikiria nyumbani. Nimeshukuru kukua hapa. I am a friend of the Kisii community and the Kisii region, because in my day job I'm the regional coordinator, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Nimekuwa hapa muda mrefu. Chairman Matundura tulianza naye AJS kabla hata judiciary launch AJS. We started with Chairman AJS in 2007. So I'm surprised that bado hapa Kisii hatujafanya AJS, but we'll ensure that the same happens. And I also wish to thank my colleagues, the chair and the team from the Law Society, for creating time to come and attend this public forum. So pia mimi nashukuru sana vile wakazi wa Kisii mmeona kabisa vile tuko na shida ya budget. Tulikuwa tumezoea 50 bob, tumepunguziwa imefika 10 bob. Hiyo 10 bob ndo najaribu useme uweke wapi na wapi. I'll respond to issues that are some of the issues that have been raised. LSK, you want an ELRC court in Kisii. Looking at the statistics, only 25 cases zimekuwa filed hapa Kisii. The Employment and Labor Relations Court, 25 cases. Hiyo we will not be using public funds efficiently. And out of the 25 cases, 2 were closed and 23 claims are still pending. Again, out of the 25, we have 8 appeals and 15 claims. Sumone ni kidogo kuleta judge. So we are still using the Kisumu ELRC court, and for now I will not promise that we'll get a judge. Hiyo 25 cases itaisha na siku moja alafu judge atafanya nini? Ukiangalia kwa high court, there is indeed a need, because we are talking of about 1,207. Judge mmoja anafaa kuhandle hiyo kesi zote, na si kesi hivi hivi. Murder, appeals, complex cases, commercials zenye ziko na value ya juu. And yes, we do note that we need a judge, but for now, again, budget, we cannot hire another judge because of the budget constraints.
But I know we have the visiting judge wa Homa Bay, amekuwa akikuja hapa kusaidia na amemaliza. Alafu I know na ndo amefanya ika-reduce hizo cases. So you can imagine your High Court judge here was very overwhelmed, and I know the Registrar High Court has plans to have a service week during a vacation or any other time. So kuna hizo plans, mikakati ambao tunasema ni kitu gani tutafanya kusaidia High Court judge hapa kupunguza kazi ambayo amewekewa mingi. So thank you so much, Judge. Despite the a lot of work, you're still supporting the residents of the region. For the Court of Appeal again, iko Kisumu, tumeambiwa na judge ya kwamba hata circuit visit imepunguzwa kwa sababu ya budget. So ninaomba tu kabisa, story ya budget inafanya sisi na judiciary tunasema the math is not mathing. Unapiga hesabu lakini hesabu haifanyi nini? Haingii. But we are doing what you are able to do with the little that we have. For pro bono again, out of the stations, 105 stations that need payment at the magistrate courts, we are only able to pay 29. Sadly, Kisii is not among the 29 for the magistrate courts. Budget and fast in, fast out. So courts ambazo zilituma requests zao mapema zimekaa kwa system for a long time, ndo wanaanza kufanya nini? Kupatiwa. Lakini for High Court, pesa yenyu iliingia jana. Simpige makofi makubwa mawakili. And then for mediators, yes, I know it's not right. We have a lot of your pending bill. But what I can also urge you, the mediation rules allow for filing of private mediation, and then the same is adopted by the courts. So which means you can do your own private mediation, get your fee, and then advise parties to come and have it adopted by the court. The rules allow for that, so you can do that while you wait for the pending bill. The chair of the chamber, yes, we've taken note of the capacity building, but we have a very vibrant Law Society of Kenya chapter here. If you need training on the law, if you need legal representation, wao mawakili wako. Because I find it may be a bit difficult for the court to train you on legal representation, what the law says, and you still appear before them hoping to get favorable judgment. So please work with the Law Society of Kenya chapter on that particular issue. Pro bono, the issue of increasing the amount, other than the issue of budgets, representation, legal representation for the poor is the work of the AG. And I know the current AG is very keen on having this issue addressed. I know the CRJ had a committee between LSK and Judiciary to discuss on how to raise the amount, but we want to see how we can loop the Attorney General on the issue. And lastly, prisons, tumesikia kilio yenyu ya kwamba judiciary inakimbia sana, lakini najua Commissioner Kisotu anajua budget yenye hiyo department yenyu itapewa, but we know as a fact that the justice needs of the country is a problem. And when the National Council on Administration of Justice ilikuwa ina launch report yake, ilionyesha ya kwamba kuna justice needs from police, prison, probation, kuna shida. So in our annual report to Parliament as Judicial Service Commission, we intend to also flag that issue. And lastly, mediator ulikuwa unasema kama kuna kazi ambayo ina overlap between JSC na Judiciary. The response is no, because we have our mandate stipulated in the Constitution, and the Judiciary also's mandate is stipulated in the Judiciary. So JSC is like a board, I'm using the word loosely, like a board to promote efficient, effective and accountable judiciary. So judiciary kijaribu kutoka nje na story accountability, it is our work. Tuna recruit, tunafanya performance review, tunafanya budget review. Kama kuna complaints, sisi ndo tuna handle hizo complaints. Lakini judiciary ina handle cases. Sisi kama JSC, hata kama kuna judge hapa na magistrate, hatuwezi tukakaa chini tuamue kesi. So I think the issue of wako karibu ni the membership. Chief Justice ndo Chief Justice huko na chairperson kwetu. Tuko na judge, court of appeal. So that is the symbiotic relationship we are talking about, but we are quite independent, but we are interdependent. Thank you so much na asanteni sana kwa kutukaribisha.
Hamjambo wananchi wa Kisii. Wacha niseme pia, kwanza nitoe shukrani zangu mingi sana kwa sababu kutoka jana mumetualika, tumekula vyakula, tumepatiwa vitu zingine tubebe, hata mingi sana hata sijui tutazimaliza lini. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana kwa ukarimu wenu. Wacha niongee kwa kifupi sana kwa sababu wenzangu Jackie Ngutia na Evelyn wameongea sana na wamejaribu sana kucover a lot of areas, and given that Evelyn is normally our chair of the Finance Committee at the Judicial Service Commission, she has tried to cover a number of areas. Mimi, like I said before, my name is Charity Kisotu. I represent the public service in the Judicial Service Commission. Na kwa hivyo ningependa tu reiterate ama emphasize on maybe two issues. Ile swali ambayo iliulizwa na member wa public ule alisema ya kwamba hata judicial na tunafurahi by the way kwa sababu ya ile kutuunga mkono. We actually feel your support as the Judicial Service Commission, and I'm sure as a judiciary fraternity we feel the support from the public. Ulisema kwamba hata kama tungeweza kuandamana mnaweza kuja kutufuata nyuma. Hiyo ni kuonesha kwamba kweli you really feel that the judiciary should be supported na mnatuunga mkono, which is very good because where there is no justice there is no peace. Lakini juzi nimekumbuka juzi tukiwa Kilgoris, tulikuwa tu kwa baraza kama hii, tulikuwa na politicians, members of parliament from the Narok County were there, and wengi wao kwa sababu nafikiri ya vile wananchi waliwahimiza ya kwamba ni wako na jukumu ya kusupport idara ya mahakama ndipoza waweze kuleta hii justice. So wengi kwa sababu wengi hata wale wako huku kwenu wengi wanaketi katika ile inaitwa budget committee. So I just want to reiterate that ni muhimu sana pia nyinyi mnawaambia pia waweze kutusupport, because many times we sit there to pitch our case, but I think somehow kwa kikawaida unajua judiciary is not political, unfortunately. So because of the nature of the work that is expected from the judiciary, you are expected to be very fair, you are expected to be very objective. So lazima, you are so constrained, you are working within a very constrained environment ndio uweze stick to being very objective. So inakuwa saa zingine ni ngumu sana kwetu, so we try our best, but we cannot be political, we cannot lobby. Hiyo inakuwa saa zingine ngumu sana, lakini tunaendelea kushukuru kwa sababu hata hivyo serikali pia imetusaidia na imejaribu sana kushikilia mahakama. It's only that of course the economy also is not doing well at all, and it has not been of course easy for the country. Kwa hivyo ile keki iko ina watu inagawa kidogo kidogo, kila mtu anapata kidogo kidogo. Na ndugu yangu kutoka prisons tumekusikia, unajua ya kwamba it is true, we have the whole of government approach. The judiciary is independent, but again it is interdependence. So na budget yenu ujue ya kwamba inakuanga kwa ile State Department for Interior. Hapo ndio budget yako iko, haikuangi kwa judiciary. Lakini tumekusikia na nafikiri tutaenda tujaribu katika ile collaborations, because we must work together. All the three arms of government work together. tutajaribu kuongea pia na wenzetu, tuwaambie pia waangalie hii division ya prisons. Waangalie kwa sababu pia wako na mahitaji, wako na nini, just to nyinyi wananchi mnapata huduma vile inatakikana. Kwa hivyo we will try to do our best. These engagements are very important to us because we are also, getting first-hand feedback from the public. So we thank you so much for the support and the feedback that you've given us, which will go towards enriching our approaches of dealing with finances. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Wananchi wa Kisii, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Wenzangu wamezungumza mengi na singependa kurudia mambo ambayo wameelezea. Lakini kwa upande wangu nafurahi sana kwamba mumekuja kwa wingi, pia maono ambayo mumetoa ni ya muhimu sana. Tulikuwa sehemu nyingine siku 2 ama siku 3 zilizopita kwa kipindi kama ya leo, na wale watu waliokuja walikuwa ni karibu watu 10. Siwezi kusema tulikuwa wapi, lakini kuna sehemu moja ambayo tulipitia kabla tujakuja hapa. Kwa hivyo mimi nafurahi kuona kwamba nyinyi wakaaji wa Kisii, you are very much enlightened na mnajua haki zenu. Na ndio maana kwa siku ya leo mmekuja hapa kwa wingi. Pia nashukuru pia kwa hii koti ya Kisii ikisimamiwa na Jaji Sila Munyao, kwa sababu tumeona kwamba mpangilio ya mambo hapa kotini ni mzuri sana. Na pia mmoja wenu ameelezea kwamba mnapata huduma ile mnastahili hapa kotini. Unajua hata ukienda kwa mtu kama unaenda kutembea na ukifika kwa mlango ama kwa gate unapata kwamba hata hawajafagia barabara ambayo inaingia kwa nyumba, unajua hapa kuna kasoro. Lakini mkiangalia hapa nje, nafikiri mnaona kwamba hata usafi imewekwa, manake there is order in whatever happens here. Kwa hivyo namshukuru sana Judge Sila Munyao pamoja na timu yake kwa kuendeleza kazi hapa Kisii vile inavyostahili. Na pia kama Judicial Service Commission huwa tunapata report za vile majaji zetu wanafanya kazi, na report ile tunapata kutoka hapa Kisii ni kwamba wanafanya kazi vizuri sana. Tuwapigie makofi. Na tunawahimiza kwamba waendelee kufanya kazi hivyo ili watu wa Kisii waridhike na mambo ambayo wanalete hapa kotini. Secretary General wa mahakimu, nafikiri chairman wao katika hotuba yake alisema kwamba ingekuwa ni vizuri sana kama tungekuwa na Court of Appeal hapa Kisumu. Tuko na Court of Appeal pale Kisumu ambapo kuna majaji 3. Na vile mnavyoelewa ni kwamba wakati unakata rufaa kwenda koti ya rufaa, Court of Appeal, sio jaji mmoja atakaa kusikiza kesi. Ni katika Court of Appeal, sheria inasema kwamba hiyo rufaa isikizwe na majaji 3. Kwa hivyo ingawa tuko na majaji 3 wa koti ya rufaa Kisumu, wao ukaa kama koti moja. Yeah? Na wamekuwa wakija hapa Kisii mara moja kwa muhula wa miezi 3. Lakini pia hawajakuja hivi mambo ya pesa. Hakuna pesa ya kuweza kusupport circuit kuja hapa Kisii. Na vile mawakili walipendekeza ni kwamba court ifunguliwe hapa Kisii, court ya rufaa. Tuko na koti za rufaa Nairobi, Nyeri, hata Eldoret tuko na Court of Appeal Registry. Kwa hivyo mapendekezo yenu ni kwamba kwanza tuanze na kufungua Court of Appeal Registry hapa Kisii. Kesi yako hapa Kisii, hata kama majaji watakuja kufanyia hapa baadaye, waje hapa, ama ikiwa haiwezekani kupanda huu mti kuanzia chini, tuombe kwamba tunataka registry lakini sio court of appeal. Lakini nafikiri kwa kweli mko na makesi za kutosha ambaye inastahili. Kuna kijana mdogo ambaye alisema kwamba jaji akiishi katika nyumba ya mwenye nyumba pengine anaweza kutoa hukumu ambayo itamfavor ama itapendelea huyo mwenye nyumba. Kitu tu ningependa kusema ni kwamba kama, na hata ikiwa ninajuana na wakili kwa mfano, atakuja mbele yangu, lakini sheria inasema kwamba lazima tufanye kazi kutoa hukumu bila mapendeleo yoyote. Isipokuwa nafikiri mwenzangu ameelezea kwamba mtu wa nje akiangalia kutendwa. Kwa hivyo lazima tuwe na imani na koti, na nafurahi mko na imani na koti, na msikuwe na wasiwasi kusema. Nafikiri ni hayo. Upande wa prison, hata jana mahali tulipokuwa kulikuwa na wale wafungwa wako jela, hata kutayarisha makesi zao inakuwa ni vigumu sana kwa sababu hawana kompyuta. Weka haki, tunahimiza haki, lakini yale organizations zingine ama agencies zingine ambazo tunafanya kazi pamoja na wao, ni muhimu kwamba tusiwawache nyuma sana. Nafikiri kwa hayo mengi, nashukuru sana na Mungu awabariki. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana my sister Justice Sichale na commissioners wengine. Commissioners wenzangu wamesema lazima nipeane data kwa sababu saa hizi tunaishi kwa siku za data, we use data for everything. Na wame insist kwamba for the comfort of our brother from prisons, I should give some data that has been given to us by the NCAJ. We have a report that in the financial year 23-24, the resource requirement for all the actors in the NCAJ, the justice players, ilikuwa 331.4 billion. Yani yale matakwa yetu kila sector, prisons, police, judiciary, probation, tukiweka budget yetu sote ile ilikuwa tunataka, ilikuwa ni bilioni 331.4. Lakini ile tulipatiwa kwa jumla sisi wote ilikuwa bilioni 192.2. So out of the resource requirement of 331, we got 192, and that left us with a resource gap of 42%. Lakini specifically we drilled in on prison, specifically for prison. Ile pesa muliitisha ama ile budget mulipeana, mulipata funding 61%. 61% of your resource needs were funded. But for the judiciary, only 52% was funded. So you see, what we needed, we even got less. Now you understand why we cannot carry you on our back. I think what you need to do, we are in this era of, inaitwa bottom up. Sindio? Vitu zinatoka chini zikienda juu. Resources zinatoka juu zikiteremka chini, mawaidha inatoka chini ikienda juu. You are the ones to advise them on what is happening on the ground. So I think that's a conversation you need to have internally. Muone, you prioritize automation because it makes services efficient and expeditious. There's a question we forgot to answer. My brother who was asking that those billions that have been plowed back into the economy, kwa nini sipelekwe kwa mediation? I think I need to explain something. Wakati tunasema monies have been freed into the economy, unajua sasa ile uko na kesi, sio kesi saa nyingine inahusu pesa. Si ndio? Ni kesi ya shamba, hii shamba ni ya nani, hiyo shamba haiwezi endelea. Ama ni kesi ya contract, kuna biashara ulikuwa umefanya, umelipa, umepeleka mali haujalipwa pesa. Hiyo pesa imeshikwa katika huo mzozo. Hiyo pesa haiwezi tumika. Sasa ile kesi imetatuliwa, sio pesa imetoka sasa. That is what we mean when we say this amount has been freed into the economy. Si ati ni judiciary imepatiwa hiyo pesa, imerudishwa kwa community, inafanya circulation huko. That is what we mean. The judiciary, I think I also just need to dispel, because some of us sometimes may confuse. Wengine wanafikiri saa ile tunawatoza fine, hiyo fine ni yetu. Wengine pia wanafikiri saa ile umelipa kesi, filing fees, hiyo pesa ni yetu. There is not a shilling that we retain. Ile pesa yote tuna collect, ukilipa fine, ukilipa fees, all that money, isipokuwa tu cash bail. Cash bail, sisi tunaweka, hiyo pesa hata si yetu, tunaweka tu kwa bank. Kwa sababu kuna siku kesi itaisha uje uchukue. Si huwa mnakuja mnaitisha pesa yenu? Hiyo ni pesa si yetu, hatuwezi tumia. Inakaa hapo, siku ile kesi imeisha, tunachukua, tunawarudishia. And if there is any interest in that money, saa ile unajua inakaa kwa banks, ina earn interest. Hiyo interest tunapeleka wapi? Consolidated fund. Filing fees inaenda wapi? Consolidated fund. Fines inaenda wapi? Consolidated fund. So all this money tunarudisha back to treasury. There's nothing we keep. And then now we ask treasury to give us what we need. And then now you see the imbalance. We give a lot of money, but when we ask for resources, atupatiwi resources vile tunahitaji. I think I needed just to shed light on that. And as we are winding up, at least for the part of the commission, I want to join my sisters. Incidentally, we don't have our brothers here. Maybe I should give their apologies. Si ati ni Judicial Service Commission ni commission ya wanawake peke yake. Nafikiri kuna wababa hapa wanajiuliza wazee wako wapi. Yes, we have our brothers who could not be here. Leo kama mumeangalia news mutapata kuna activity inafanyika Nairobi, tunapeana report yetu ya kila mwaka, zile vitu tumefanya katika Judiciary House on Judicial Service Commission. So wao walibaki huko kufanya hiyo, sisi ndio tukakuja hapa. But tunawashukuru sana vile dada yangu amesema, mmekuja in large numbers and we really appreciate that. Munaona umuhimu wa mahakama, ndio maana mmechukua time yenu kuja kukaa na sisi hapa, tuweke vichwa vyetu pamoja, tusuluhishe mambo yetu. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioners, for providing comprehensive feedback, responses and clarifications to the issues raised by our court users. And for our court users, we are not closing the door on feedback. We will continue to receive feedback through email. We have projected the email on the screen, budget@court.go.ke and jscsecretariat@jsc.go.ke. I will not attempt any Kiswahili. If you've heard my name, it will be a disaster. So allow me. So thank you very much for that session. I'll now hand over to Honorable Nyanza to continue with the rest of the program. Mheshimiwa.
Asante sana. Asante sana madam. Si tumepata maoni na nafikiria wamejibu maswali yetu. Si namna hiyo? Sasa najua sukari levels, the sugar levels must be going up. That we must neutralize them at a given point. And it is for that reason I'm inviting Brother Mutai, Paul Mutai, to give a vote of thanks at this level, because we're coming to an end of this exercise for today.
Thank you, Honorable Nyanza. Our commissioners, presiding judge, and the presiding judge Homabay, colleagues, distinguished guests, have been called upon to give a vote of thanks, and mine will be very brief. First is to thank the Judicial Service Commission and the judiciary leadership for finding it fit to have this function here in South Nyanza region. We don't take it for granted. We know it could have been done elsewhere. We also thank the local organizing committee led by our presiding judge and head of station for work well done. I also thank you, distinguished guests, for finding time out of your busy schedule to attend this meeting. It has been very informative. You have learned a bit of it about judiciary and the budget. You have also given your feedback, and I'm very sure that will be incorporated finally when it will be presented to the decision makers, those who budget. Lastly, as we are breaking, I wish all of you journey masses. Thank you.
Asante sana. I know Paul is very brief. Na wengine tunakura maneno throughout. Nilikuwa nafikiria anakula maneno kidogo, mingi kidogo, but meanwhile si maneno imeisha vizuri. We appreciate your views, that which you have given. I know the commissioner is here. I'm just buying time to get some linkage. It's one thing I want to find out. So in such a situation, msije kufikiria ni jinsi gani tena mkutano imeisha na naendelesha mkutano. Vile na nimesema ya kwamba tumefurahia nyinyi kuja, enyewe mmekuja kwa wingi, that we do not take it for granted. Because of that very reason, now I want to switch to my mother tongue, because I know the majority are here. Atenda wakira nambi ya mwana sogoja. Kianda bayale kunyale kana murangeri kumoja te kunyale kana boyo. Abantu torole jisiuroria. Kitoira manu dokumina ki ekoti ya busungu na bekarega. Paka tuijane kera kini bona kama mwachire amangana inama ya. Na kera abeire hiyo tunashukuru Mungu. Kwa vile nimeona that which I was waiting, it may take a bit longer. I'll simply invite Sambarumo akuja tuombe. And then thereafter, ile inaitwa self-directing activities. Kutoka hapo, unaangalia unaongea na nani, unacheka na nani, siyo inakubalika? Self-directing. Hapo sasa, ile maneno ya kudirect kutoka hapa itakuwa imeisha. Na hapo sasa tutaanza kupiga gumzo hapa na pale kidogo kidogo, tukiangalia ni jinsi gani maneno yatakuwa na ni jinsi gani tutaendeleza hii. Niliona the secretary South Nyanza. Asante sana. So ndio nilikuwa nasema hayo yote. Sasa hiyo ni self-directing activity. But the last one which I'm directing from here is that once we are through from here, the members of the public, we don't take your views for granted. You need to be given a cup of tea. Sio itakuwa vizuri? Pale ndio chai itawekwa pale, itatengwa pale kwa wingi. Na watu watakunywa mpaka waseme sasa hata kama ni saa 7 tunakunywa chai. Sio inakubalika? Aya, basi I want to invite now my younger brother here to pray for us and to make the last the closing prayer.
Asante. Tusimame. God is good all the time. Asante. Nashukuru Mungu kwa hiyo sehemu. Kwa hii mkutano kuna kitu moja nimeweza kuzingatia. Praise Lord. Kwamba everywhere, every place, lack of insufficient funds. Praise Lord. Kwa nyinyi mwendi kanisani. Praise Lord. Even in agrarian revolution, lack of insufficient funds. Waje tuamini na tuombe. Asante Mungu, ni mchana njema tuko mbele zako na kushukuru, tunasema ni asante. Tutakupa sifa na utukufu kwa siku ya leo. Umekuwa mwema, umetulinda, umetuhifadhi, umepanga mipango, tumesungumuza na jamii kwa upana, nasema ni asante. Tunaombea wageni wetu ambao wametoka Nairobi, Mungu, watakaporudi kule Nairobi, wasafiri salama kule barabarani. Wenzetu ambao tabaki mji huu na wananchi wetu wafike nyumbani salama kwa utukufu wako. Patia kila mmoja amani Mungu wangu. Hata ukakumbuka idara ya mahakama wanabajadili mambo ya budget Mungu wetu wa mbinguni. Ukakusa sehemu ya executive na parliament waweze kuzingatia kwamba waweze kuongeza budget kwa minajili ya kuweza kusaidia judiciary kutekeleza majukumu yake jinsi ipasavyo. Tunaombea jamii yetu mahali wako Mungu wetu wa mbinguni, kwa kuwa hakuna mwingine kama wewe. Hata tunapoendelea kumaliza mwaka, tunakuomba ukasidi ukaweka kila mmoja wema kwa utukufu wako. Tunaomba haya machache kwa jina la Yesu Kristo aliye mwokozi wetu. Amen. Asante Yesu.
Aya, asante sana. Sasa tumefika mahali sehemu ile ya self-directing activities. Na nimesema wananchi chai mtulie tu, kutulia kidogo hapa hivi ndio wachipange pale, tukienda pale ni kupewa hiyo kikombe cha chai na kakitu juu yake kidogo. Lakini hata hivyo tuko na haki ya kusemezana. Hakuna mwenye amesimamisha mwingine asiseme maneno. Ni wakati wa kujuana na kusemezana. I know you will be retreating to do a report. Yes. Asante. So this is from the LSK.